ho ho! And then we need to make this live chat so that I can maybe see a message if it pops up.
Next year they'll have fantasy leagues with names like Shake It Goff and Jordan Love Story.
Okay, we are officially live, so in case anyone thinks about saying things that they shouldn't. By that I mean in case John's rambling and something comes out of his mouth that shouldn't.
Listen. Never.
Wait, did I send the lady Emily funny tweet? I don't remember if I did. If I did, it was far enough back, but I don't think I did. Whatever.
They release like little close stamps.
Junpei? Ace Detective? More like...
Oh no.
My lawyer has advised me not to continue this statement.
I was about to say, Michael.
No.
Michael, no, stop.
That bit's so good.
It's
There's
really funny.
Wait, no, I was talking about this tweet. You know you can't don't.
Hey guys, how you been? Let's do the run through real quick to try to knock some stuff out. Welcome. It's week 2-3 of Anime Afraid Save or Slay, the winter 2024 season, where we watch upwards of 12 anime, now down to 11. Should be 10. Whoops, or fault. But we'll be down to 9 after this week.
I forgot we are.
Yeah,
we are bopping too.
We're bopping too, so to keep that in mind when you vote. And for that, I mean, just slay everything you hate this week and see where it lies. There is going to be harsh language and spoiler content up to episode 5s of all of our shows. Please do not spoil anything past those episodes if you are watching and are caught up, because some of our shows do have more than 5 episodes out right now. Most do. Not all, but most. Also, if you missed our limited edition anime OP ranking quiz, you can find the link to it on the community tab of the channel, where the only thing that won't be in there is the bit that also wasn't in there on the VOD, where we get bopped from existence for about a minute. Whoops. And then we got bopped from existence harder the next day. But it's in a Google file, a Google Drive file that you can watch and listen to at your own free convenience. Because who's going to report me on Google Drive? Me? Yeah, maybe. I might.
I will.
Please do. That Google Drive needs to... Actually, wait, no, don't. That's the D&D Google Drive, I think. I don't want to take...
Is that the one with like 50 gigabytes of video?
Yes, that's the one that's almost out of storage space on a Google Drive after buying additional storage space on a Google Drive. Whoops. But yeah, you can check it out there. It's fun. I almost spoil some things somehow to people. I have a hard time deciding where Durara's first opening belongs until the very end, so stay tuned. That's fun. I make some very judgment call about social media popularity in relation to some of these openings, where I decide not good enough. You were TikTok viral, not good enough. Your actual version of the song doesn't go Snoop Dogg, not good enough. What can I say?
Again,
there are restrictions. Yeah.
It's a good opening.
Also, by far, maybe the best bit happens immediately in that VOD, where I go to watch the Snafu opening that Mason picked for me, and Mason goes, "That's not the right one." And then he gets me a different one, and he goes, "That's also not the right one." So how we decide to settle this is we get a video with all of the versions of that Snafu opening, and I just look at the second one out of all 7.
Remember,
9.
John, that opening changes based on who's in that classroom.
What ended up actually happening, we had the first version, which is the pre-changes. That's kind of like whatever. And the second one was like to avoid copyright, we'll play half of the videos backwards.
Yeah, and was it good? And then the third one is just 7 screens of the opening.
I think it's 12.
It's a lot.
It was 9.
It was
I'm
a lot.
Pretty sure. For sure it was a flat 3,
sounds
but
like
I don't know, it was something.
But
it was a lot.
We're gonna get into this pretty quick. Firstly, for my co-hosts, and I will also pop this up on screen, here was last week's power ranking, which does not technically hold any ground this week. You know, thoughts and opinions might have changed, but let's keep in mind, and we will see the opinions that have changed, but let's keep in mind the fact that I can't believe that at the end of this, Congrats, Michael and John. You managed to not have a single bold because you two were in some agreement. So again, this is last week. What are like the most notable things? I have Witch and the Beast really high. Mason has it kinda high because him and I share the same opinion about last week's episode, which we'll talk about. I
do the star because that's the fucking whatever.
Yeah, that's the what did we used to refer to it as?
We called it the Joron effect for a while, but it wasn't Joron because Joron's bit was that it went from number 4 to number 10 on 4.
No, we had a name for it
because it finished after episode 4. It was done. The show was done.
Yeah,
the story was over.
This is the effect of you have a show that's at the very bottom, and then someone else votes your next show out, so that show just keeps staying at the bottom of your list. So on the power ranking, it shows that it went up 1, even though it did not move on your personal opinion at all. Which is what that is for John, for Michael last week.
Dumped Sasaki and Peeps last week. Holy shit.
Hey, you might notice we all kind of dumped Sasaki and Peeps last week.
Yeah, but like Mason went 8 spots.
Like I said, he had it kind of high the first week because it was
Mason
fine.
Was about to kill that show over literal fan service, and I respect that choice because it's probably correct.
And then for the viewer at home, here you go. This is
Sasaki and Peeps didn't do anything stupid in episode 4. It definitely didn't pull a One Piece.
Don't worry about it. So here's
I didn't see no body.
Here's this week's.
There wasn't a body. It didn't happen.
Here's this week's, guys. How do you like that bold this week's viewers? There's some opinions about this week's power ranking.
It tilts me that they're different sizes. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, that's a shame. I cropped it better this week than last week. Deal with it. It's the exact same amount of shows. It's actually probably based on where weakest Tamer is, comparatively to other like from this week to last week, maybe. I don't know. There's definitely something going on. Yeah.
I have a question for you on this week's power ranking.
Sure. What is it?
Why is Hokkaido Gals bolded for you when you and I have it in the exact same spot?
Because I can't read, so ignore that bold.
Just want to make sure.
Wait, what's new? We all knew this fact before going into it.
I mean, I know, it should also be bolded for me.
That's what happened. I went to go bold it for Michael and bolded it for me.
Nice.
That's what happened. We solved it, guys. We solved it.
We did.
By the way, we're in danger about this power ranking screen in the future because right now we have Boji, Anya, and the girl from Yakuza babysitting, and we're gonna have to add like 3 more by the end of this season, and that's not great. But that's where we lie power ranking wise, and that means that we're gonna jump into discussion real quick. And the first show on the docket is of course mine, Delicious in Dungeon Meshi. Last week racism, this week bugs. I mean, what's more to say? Last week they make some vegetables. Marcella gets upset about using golems as soil because they are high magical valuable constructs, and you should not treat them as less. And Senshi doesn't care, because he treats them as children. They get too many veggies and go to sell at a bar, at which point the bar goes, "Why are you selling veggies here? We're gonna kill you." At which point the orcs walk in and go, "No, we're gonna kill you." And then the orcs look at them and go, "We would kill you, but Senshi's here. Come back. We're gonna just take all your shit." And Senshi goes, "But I want to make bread. Let me make some pan. Some pan. Please. Bread." And in the meanwhile, while he's making bread, we get a really, really good bit, which is the leader of these orcs and Marcella, arguing about who is in the wrong for where the orcs currently are, or who is not in the wrong for where the orcs currently are, which they then use a couple of like combat timeouts when Senshi's like, we need to let the dough rest. You gotta stop beating the shit out of the dough. Calm down. At which point the orc walks himself into a corner by having his son go, "Why can't the people who made the bread eat the bread?" And he goes, fuck shit. And Marcel's a homie and goes, "He was joking. We're gonna all eat the bread."
Well, no, Marcel goaded him into it and is like,
"Well, yeah, but
oh, your dad's so nice and generous
she gives
for
him
inviting us here."
She gives him the out. The group gets a map about where the dragon is, because the dragon's the reason the orcs are like three levels too high in this dungeon. Which, by the way, after thinking about this through my head, this is a recent plot in a D&D campaign we have right now, where orcs are displaced, causing problems because a dragon moved them out of their location. Very odd to have that connect.
It sounds like I wrote this story.
No, because not my campaign. It's Painless's.
Painless.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else really there. I think that's about it. They get the map, and that moves them along a little bit. They make some veggies and some bread. This week, we open with a completely different set of adventurers, of one of which who is in the opening. There is like a semi-important conversation in last week's episode where the orc kind of looks at Leos and goes, "Why do you want to like kill the wizard who like runs this dungeon? Like you're traveling through it, you plan to clear it. What the fuck do you have to gain from that?" And he goes, "I've never thought about it." And he goes, "That's terrifying. You should think about it. You do not deserve to carry on in this dungeon if you've never thought about it." And at the end of like the whole thing, he's like, after he gets the map to the dragon, Leos is like, "I will think about it." And we all know surely he's gonna do some dumb shit if he gets control of this dungeon. This week, this new party, I don't know the guy's name because I forget it, and I'm sure we'll get it more later. The darker skinned character this week, who's kind of based. Until he's unconscious, because
Michael, I'm pretty sure Michael and I were convinced that man was going to be evil as hell.
I mean, he does do the bit where he scares the shit out of his two party members. But they go down. We have a bit about parties are breaking up because of money conflicts and other issues, and they're kind of like, "We're good, we're fine." They kill a zombie, and they're like, "Yo, there's this weird treasure chest inside this zombie. That's not usual." And like any good adventuring party, they open it without any caution, to which they find tons of gems. Smash cut to Or Group as they find them fucking unconscious, about to be cadavered out of the dungeon, and Leos' sword shakes and it goes, "Danger," and he goes, "Oh shit, those aren't coins, those are bugs." And then Senshi decides to make us all go through the horrible experience of watching him talk about de-peeling the legs off of bugs that look like a pearl necklace and boiling coin bugs to death. But the food does look really good by the end of it, and that might be the worst part about it. We then also get some moments with Marcella where she's like, "Man, I want to pray for these guys so they don't turn into undead, but like that's not my thing, but I'm gonna do my best." And then they run into a bunch of ghosts. And we get probably the best part of the episode, which, in my opinion, outweighs the bugs, which is we get flashbacks to, God, I had her name in my brain, and now it's left. His sister. What is it? Is it an F? The one that's in
Fallon.
the dragon. Yeah, Fallon. Where we talk about how she's just a cleric. She's a damn good cleric. She removes poltergeists from possessing bodies by hugging them. She very nice, very good, best character. And then we get some sick ass animation of Senshi beating the shit out of ghosts with a specially concocted holy water bottle. While the rest of the group goes, give me that. I'll take my turn." And then Senshi goes, "What if I eat the holy water?" and they make ice cream.
It did make holy water ice.
I love how his
technically it was
water
sorbet,
as
but,
well is literally just like, let's just take every fucking holy thing we can think of and just jam it into a jar.
But I don't got salt, so we're putting a bunch of sugar in. That's basically
I don't
the
have a
same.
lot of salt, and sugar looks like it, so let's put like more of it to get the same effect.
And then they get ice cream. I think these are two really good episodes. Oh, also in the flashback, like showing off his sister, we do see two of the other characters in the openings who apparently used to travel with them. I'm excited for those two to come back because they look really dope, and also are very clearly have some differing opinions to some of the rest of the party, and how they want to handle things, because those two go, "Let's murder," which, to be fair, that's like half the party's mentality. I really like both of these episodes. I thought this week's episode fucking ruled, outside of the bugs. I could have dealt without the bugs, but here we are. Thoughts?
Yeah, bugs icky, but good episode. This show's just been solid throughout. It's a very similar path, it seems, most episodes, and it doesn't feel like they're making much progress, but they're clearly like identifying the issues with the dungeon right now, right? And like some of the bigger issues, but they're not like they're not pressing a lot of them individually. They're still like, "Well, I'm still trying to go save my sister," and it's like, "Well, are we?"
Yeah, there's this mention of like funky things is happening within the dungeon. Things should not be where they are, as we kind of got alluded to with the dragon to begin with. I also
the dragon, right?
I also forgot about the screenshot I'm using, which is Leos has a very life flash before his eyes, instant regret about his sister being eaten by the dragon, and that set of scenes hurts. That hurts. Poor boy. It's okay.
Character development for his sister, which is weird.
It's okay. He named his sword this episode, so he's going places.
Yeah, it's the wrong name, but like.
I don't remember what he names it.
I don't know, but it's not Migi, therefore it's wrong.
But
yeah, these episodes were cool. Outside of a lot of bugs.
God, I hated the
bugs. What to you was? Because to me, it is between the pulling the legs off of the pearls and the larva falling out of the crown. Those two are like we're done here.
Those were the worst for me as well.
I mean, bro eating fucking pretty patties was also wild as shit.
That is, I have seen that manga panel meme of that.
Of the gem cut in the burn. The gem burger. Sorry, Mason, I cut you off there.
No, you're good. Anything to do with millipedes and centipedes, just I hate. And then just
I wonder why.
Because they're the worst and they should not exist. Nothing should have that many legs.
Michael, look at me. Tittypede. Do you recall?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh, I think I've explained this to. I think I've told this story to Michael and I have a shared friend who had a millipede fall on their chest in the shower.
Oh, okay. No, I do remember this.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yes. This did occur.
See, Mason, this is how I'm gonna make you stay up for the whole podcast, is by making you not want to sleep.
Yeah. No. When I was dating Christina, the last time I was there, I killed a millipede that was in her room. That was, that big. No. Do not.
Bugs are fun. Any non-bug related things to talk about, or? The show's pretty.
It is pretty. I do enjoy that this is getting more trigger anime by the episode.
The Senshi scene, sure.
Yeah, no, it's starting to go kind of buck wild, and I'm here for it. Like, I know I shouldn't expect the same level of bullshittery that Trigger has done with other shows, because a lot of Trigger's other shows are space related and
also originals, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
they can only go so dumb with
them. Yeah. Like, this is not going to be Kill la Kill or Promare. Like, so I'm tempering my expectations with that.
Are you guys ready to have a real fucking conversation about a show already? Hey.
Forget what's next.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Sasaki and Peeps time. Michael, you got 2 episodes to talk about.
So if I had a nickel for
well, yes, the Costco.
No, that wasn't even the bit I was saying the nickel about every show that introduced magical girls this week.
Oh, true. I can't believe this show is 2 of them. This show is 2 of those.
Yeah.
It might be the 3rd, because I don't remember what other show talks about being built different.
So episode 4, okay, episode 4, we're in the fantasy world.
Oh yes, right.
Political drama occurs. We were once again I should always remember as a watcher of One Piece. If I don't see a body, it didn't fucking happen. At the end of episode 3, we're told a character died, and we're just flat out told they're dead by the narrator. God, apparently we can't fucking trust the narrator because he's like, "Nah, I'm alive, bitch." This was all actually an elaborate ploy where I faked my death, and then my 2 brothers faked fighting each other in succession, and they both died, or his 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
So then my daughter would take the place, and then we would actually do this to rat out the butler because the butler's actually secretly evil.
Traitor.
And it's like, wow, that felt needlessly complex, and also, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is only amplified by how episode 5 starts.
I don't remember where episode 5 starts. I just know episode 5. He's out doing Sasaki's in the real world now.
Yeah.
Doing real world things. Small girl neighbor.
Hoshizaki.
Yeah,
Oh.
Hoshizaki
No,
exists.
yeah,
or no,
but
yeah,
neighbor.
Neighbor's like in school existing, and she's like, no, Sasaki hasn't been home in a while, and we don't touch on that again.
They do talk about how there is something going on with the time dilation of
the
transferring
time dilation
between
isn't
the
nearly
worlds.
as strong as it had.
But when Sasaki looks into it, he runs through all the things that have happened in the past 3 days he's been gone. Most of which is episode 4. And then he talks about how he met the king, and there's like a bunch of other stuff that seems important, but not enough to show it to us like over the course of actual events.
Yeah. And then he goes. Then him and Hoshizaki goes, "Hey, bitch, we got a mission." He goes, "Okay." And she goes, "Okay, so we gotta go recruit a guy. This guy is a high schooler, and he has fire powers." And she essentially goes, "Yeah, I'll do this myself. You go do whatever." And then and I was like, "Oh, it's because Hoshizaki's in high school, and she's gonna go be a high schooler." And Sasaki, being who he is, somehow becoming stupid for the first time in the show, just didn't think about that, knowing she is 17, that she would look like a high schooler if she took off the tux and the makeup. And then she goes and tries to befriend the boys so she could do the thing, and then Sasaki like weirdly creeps on them. But then not in like a weird way. It's one of those things where he's like, people would think I'm weird if they saw me doing this.
Which is right.
Damn. Yeah, correct. And then some bullies come up and do some things, and then Boy explodes and knocks a helicopter out of the sky, or a plane, or something.
You're right. I just forgot.
It was a military something got
acknowledges
yeeted out of the sky, and Sasaki goes, "Ah, shit. It'd be bad if that thing hit anyone. So let me put up a barrier, but like, well, no one sees, so no one knows it was." And then a magical girl appears, and she goes, "Did you do this?" And he goes, "No." "But what if I did?" She goes, "Then I'd have to kill you."
Because you'd be a psychic.
And he's like, "But I'm not a psychic." And she goes, "Okay, but that person, I have to kill her." And he goes, no, she's my friend." And she goes, "But like, no, she's a psychic, I have to kill her." And you go, "Why do you hate psychics?" And it's like, I don't know, I didn't want to be a magical girl. Or
No,
something.
psychics killed my family.
Oh yes, I forgot. It's the trolls bit. Singing killed my grandma.
No, she killed the fairy that gave her magical girl powers because she didn't want to be a magical girl. That's the other part of it that for some reason is here.
Also, psychics killed her family. And then she disappears into the digital dimension again.
She gets bored.
After Sasaki fights her with the help of that other
This
psychic
one.
from like the bowling alley.
This one.
And then, yeah. This show's trying too hard to do 5 different things.
Is it? Is it
and
trying
not
hard?
elaborating enough. No, apparently that's actually the problem. It's like trying to do like 3 things at a time, and it's trying to be like goofy with the way it does things. But if you want to do something like this, where you go absolutely buck wild, you have to be Eminence in Shadow at this point.
Yeah.
Where you just go fucking bonkers on everything.
But Eminence in Shadow also dropped parts of it arced it. Like you finished certain parts of Eminence in Shadow before the other part fully took over. Like stuff would drop here and there.
Yeah, I think the issue that this show's trying to do like this funny thing where it's like The Hobbit. He's just a dude while the world happens around him. But like also it tries to have him be really important in all of the worlds.
But you know
like
what?
he exists in the other world. But in like the fantasy world, but also this entire political thing just happens outside of him. We're just told this political thing happened. With no build-up as to it happening or anything. It's just, it happens.
Here's the other problem. And we'll use the Hobbit example. What makes the Hobbit, at least, an enjoyable experience for most people, I imagine, is that it is tied to sets of events that you know. Like, there is still a clear thing happening that you understand is occurring. There is no central goal there is no central goal in this show. I don't want to say there's no conflict. There's lots of conflict. It's everywhere. That might be part of the problem, too. But, what is Sasaki striving for now? He fed the bird the high-class meat. We got there. We're done. We don't need to be here anymore.
He's making more money than he did before.
But
Even though he was making fine money before that.
Like, there is nothing. I have no reason to want to watch the next episode of this show based on like the plot. Like, I don't have anything I care about, which is unfortunate.
I just don't care.
Like, some stuff
the
needs,
show is
it
funny.
looks
I
kind
just
of
don't
good.
care anymore.
I like that Sasaki, outside from that one moment where he doesn't recognize his partner, it is generally really smart. He stops her from butting into the bullies. It's like we shouldn't mess with this. And he also has the realization of, but if we do let it go on too long, this could be the day he snaps. And of course, because you've directly injected yourself into his life, it becomes the day he snaps a little bit later. I also really appreciate that Sasaki and his partner, because I don't feel like saying her name because it's lost my mind, it's late. Hoshisaki. Too long. Too long. Simply too long.
4 whole syllables.
Too many.
I mean, that's too many, because American names have like 1 to 2.
But they're like, we have to clean up the evidence, and that just means taking all the people away who are involved, not cleaning up the crash helicopter. That's someone else's fucking problem, by the way.
Yeah, let's just like ignore the people that were probably driving said helicopter. I don't think it was confirmed it was a drone.
There's also that little kid who's just vibing around with an ice cream cone, watching this all go down.
Yeah,
which is like the kid from The Incredibles who's just like, that was freaking awesome!
We had this kid who had an ice cream cone, but like their dad told them not to get a cone because they would drop the ice cream.
Yeah, but get a cup. It's gonna be safer, but cones are cooler.
We're a generic fantasy.
Based.
We're Psycho-Pass, and now we're Madoka. And I think we maybe have gone too far.
Yeah, I think we're trying to do too many bits.
We got two magical girls.
None of them are working at this point.
We got 2 magical girls this season. One is a regular magical girl, not even, and the other one, this one is Madoka. like the person who gave me my power, I brutally murdered because I didn't want it any longer. Also, all my parents are dead, so I'm committing genocide. Whoops.
I just don't know how to feel about the show because it goes all over the place, and I still don't know what the point is. Like, what is, like you're saying, like what is the goal for Sasaki? Like,
he already has a successful bit. He's fucking knighted in the other world. He has a successful restaurant business.
5-star restaurant.
Yeah, just live there.
Yeah, just live there. Why is he still here?
Back every couple years.
I mean, I guess the idea is that
resources, but like,
yeah, he has to come back to buy things from Walmart, but
yeah, but like just come back to shop every so often and then live there.
Just reverse engineer it and then make it in the other world.
Well, I guess
even
he needs money in the real world, and he doesn't like a good way to convert that.
I thought he could convert it. I thought that was the whole reason why he wasn't broke anymore.
I mean, I think the idea is also because he's like selling the coins for like physical money out of it. I think eventually whoever you're selling it to is gonna be like, okay, where the fuck are you getting all this? People in the fantasy world don't question because oh, he's from another continent.
We don't know which
talk to
one.
Those people ever. So like, I mean, it's fine. They're just from fucking Garlet or whatever the fuck the Magitech people are.
By the way,
14.
wild to introduce us to a war between 2 nations, not tell us anything about the nation, then drop a demon from that nation in the middle of the conflict that just fights a bird, who we get no resolution about what happens there.
Oh yeah, that's what just happened. And we're told, yeah, he dealt with it.
Where'd that mage go? We don't know.
Nah, Pierre Carlo dealt with it. It's fine.
Yeah, they did, but like... That's just why it's so low for me. Is I just don't have any like investment in this show because I just don't know what it's trying to like.
No, I just don't care anymore.
It's like, okay, it's 2 premises. Okay, now it's 3 premises. Okay, now it's 4 premises, and it's just like, I just don't care about any given one because they haven't spent enough time like focusing on one. If that makes sense.
What also bothers me about episode 4 is it's like, oh hey, you're alive, in the middle of enemy territory with the prince. Neat. I'm not going to mention anything about what's going on with your family right now or question you about that to, like, inform you that might be important things. Like, maybe I should tell you your 2 sons are likely dead over a dispute, but I'm going to choose that you don't want to know that right now and that your daughter doesn't drastically miss you. To have any kind of... like, Sasaki is left in the dark so that we are left in the dark for really no good reason.
I want to bring up the other elephant in the room, which is the weird demon girl that fights Peeps. for a bit.
Yeah. No, she's just a part of the Enemy Nation we know nothing about.
Yeah, we have no context for her at all. We just have a fight between them, and that's
she's
about
like
it.
probably dead now. Maybe.
We didn't see a body, Michael. We didn't see a body.
I didn't see no fucking body.
Fucking, you're right. If there isn't a body, it didn't die. Like, if there is a body, it didn't die sometimes.
Yeah.
It's see what also really hurts this show, and this is unfair, but I'm watching other newly airing fantasy anime, and like just being a pure fantasy allows you to blow this out of the water because you have a focus, you have cool ideas and characters. I like French, but I'm not gonna get him for 5 episodes. It seems like again.
Yeah, we didn't even like have French last episode. I'm like, come on! I don't even think we had him in episode 4.
Maybe
he may have shown up, but we were in the fantasy world the whole time. But I don't think he showed up.
I think he spends a little bit of time with the princess, or the guy's daughter, which then like I think they feed her fancy food at the restaurant once.
Maybe
because I think you get the scene where she feeds the Star Sage. But
do not feed.
Also, the ED is heavily focused on her, which is wild given that we got kind of nothing out of our first interaction with her.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I guess the idea is we're gonna start focusing because
they're gonna get wet.
Sasaki's supposed to like teach her magic and shit. I think that was like a thing we were told. And the ED is her learning magic and being very bad at it. All done in the art style of like Fat Princess.
Yeah, it's an odd choice, surely.
For the PS1. They're like PS2 because they are rounded.
PS2.
Oh, guys, we're just in it for discussions. We don't get a cooldown for a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, heads up. We're about to talk about a show, and when we talk about episode 4, it'll make some sense. And then we're gonna talk about episode 5, and Mason needs to do his best. That's all I'm gonna say.
So, Metallic Rouge. So episode 4.
By the way, I'm gonna send. Sorry, Mason. I'm gonna quick send the screenshot for this in chat because I want you to know that I just flashbanged the audience with this.
Okay. I'm excited to see this. Yeah.
What does it mean? She turned into the one. She turned into the terrifying YouTube video girl.
So, episode 4, Metallic Rouge. It's peacekeeping force comes in to just like murder a lot of Neons. Rouge is in custody with the head of the like political force here for the murder of the one Neon. And she's like, I didn't fucking do it. And they're like, no, you did. And then we find out that that one of them is actually the like Joker dude cosplaying.
He's the Joker.
I think of the face card, and then I realize what I'm saying, and I'm like, wait, hold on.
He does have immense Vash and millions knives energy.
Yeah.
He carries immense million knives.
He ends up leaving after revealing himself to Rouge, and then Noelle, right?
Yeah.
Has a confrontation with him where she just almost fucking shoots him. Her whole confrontation with him is actually really sick because it shows us that she can fight.
But then he also just kind of just backs away. He's the weirdest individual in this show.
So weird because he just kind of
he reveals himself. He shows who he is to her for no valid explanation, and then he goes, "Guess what? Bad shit's happening."
Fights her for a bit and then goes, I don't want to kill you, and just walks away.
And then he's gone for a bit. We don't see him in the next episode. We have other people to deal with.
And then while all of this is happening,
and it was Thursday.
And then it was Thursday.
The doctor.
But
Rouge fights the doctor.
Rouge fights the doctor, who turns out to be one of the Immortal 9.
Whoa.
He gets led there by the little boy in Aeon who gets fucking stabbed in the gut. The doctor dude has nerve gas, which makes the most gimmicky boss mechanic ever, which is clones. Which one's the real one?
The one you can hit.
Yeah, crazy. And then at the end of the episode, after Rouge kills him and has kind of a breakdown a bit, gonna have a breakdown.
The carnival comes to town.
Yeah, carnival comes in. And then the next episode starts off with Claire de Lune, which I
didn't even fucking notice.
Yeah,
it was Claire de Lune.
Michael and I clocked that immediately. Like, first note, we were like, oh shit.
Was smiling directly in Sean's direction for untold reasons.
It's always fucking Debussy every time.
It's my guy Debussy every time.
So
I know it's pronounced like Debussy.
We know, by the
Debussy
way.
is
But
funnier.
the bit's funny.
Yes.
Mason, crazy by the way. Episode 5 is the episode without the nerve toxin.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they gave it to us. It leaked out
Yeah.
from episode 4.
Exactly. It stuck around.
Sure did.
Yeah, so the first, like, solid 15 minutes of this episode, like, it's a majority of this episode, is just a weird memory flashback acid trip that I was here for.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite make sense of all of it. I probably will have to go back and rewatch it.
But also probably make more sense when we get more stuff.
It is-
Hopefully.
It establishes some family dynamics and then immediately tears those apart at the seams.
Yeah, like, there is a man there that I couldn't tell was her, like, father or brother. I think it's her brother.
It's her brother.
And then
The one who's playing the piano is the brother, and the
Yeah.
butler-looking guy is the father.
yeah, he's the father, and the father dies, supposedly.
Because of the
And then-
9.
He was
because of
theoretically
the
killed by the
Immortal
Immortal 9.
And then the brother goes, Rouge, you have to kill the Immortal 9. She's like, but why? And he's like, because they killed him. And she's like,
You want to
"But
not kill my
why?
grandma, okay?
But why do I have to kill them? He's like, because you have to.
You have to. And she's like, I guess.
And then also there's another Rouge there that's like got different colored hair. And we're not sure if that's like,
Code Eve.
yeah, it's real weird. I don't know.
And then, like, there's that...
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then you have the fucking, oh my god, D. Gray Man and fucking Circus hiding
Yeah.
around and, like, entering into his memories and then backing out of it.
Yeah,
Because they're trying to get information about this Code Eve.
Yeah, they're trying to get information on Code Eve, and she's having her memories looked at while she's in a like cryopod or something by a guy called the Puppet Master.
But there's also, like, an implication that, like, these are, like, sealed or repressed memories that she doesn't have herself.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
And Naomi's bird is, like, constantly hostile to her the whole time for some
Yes.
strange reason where it's like, it is time to kill your next target. Right now.
Wait, no, Naomi's bird also comes in and fucking dies in the first memory. Just flies in and falls into the piano.
At which they keep playing, which might be like a symbolic thing of this is how robot we are, that we don't even stop when the bird dies in our piano.
That was such a funny scene because he's just like playing the piano and sheer.
It's so funny.
And, like the music like gets worse because it's like hitting the key to the fucking bird's on. I think that's so fucking funny.
It's really funny. It's also a very good job in editing, but like, okay, guys, come on.
Yeah, there's also the bit while playing at the end of playing the piano, his like her brother's visage flashes into like that of a woman who I have to presume is their mother based on the context that that's the song she
Yeah.
plays, because she's just Debussy, I guess. I don't know. How deep
And
does
then-
this go?
She also during this sequence has like flashes of Viola, like asking her why she killed her, and also getting a fully voiced in English song from her.
Big
for a
Transistor
minute.
vibes.
Yeah, very.
Which is what
Goddamn
they had in the
spelling
first
mistake.
episode
Is
anyway.
that the same song that she did in the start of the show?
It I think we heard it in episode 4 when we were getting the flashbacks with the nerve gas, when it was going through like all 3 of the ones she'd killed already, and it showed Viola. At which point, yeah, maybe she also sang it before that. It's quite possible.
Yeah. And then the next part of this episode is when Rouge actually gets out of the container, because the puppet master just lets her out and just goes, "Be free. You have the freedom to choose. But, like, you should choose my ideals, because, like,
and then
Rouge, I freed you."
And then Rouge is like, "What are your ideals?" And he goes, "You'll never know." And,
puppets
away.
Their solar system, goodbye.
Yep, and he just fucking leaves. And then Naomi is, like, on the ship trying to get to Rouge.
Yeah, she's got hot treasure hunting man with her.
Yeah. Hot treasure hunting man. Emile, I believe.
Probably.
Yeah, and then Rouge ends up fighting goth doll woman. I don't know.
Her hair is arms. Her hair is arms.
Very Yukaku Yamagishi vibes. And then, like, right as Rouge is about to die or get, like, grabbed again, Emile, like, turns into his Immortal 9 robot form.
But how do we know that it's him?
Because it shows us.
There's no one else on this fucking ship it could be! Outside of the fact that they show you at the end of the episode as a stinger.
Yeah. And then that's...
she saves Naomi from falling to her death by bouncing between 2 towers.
Yeah.
Oh, would have been hype. I also have Rouge, like, is like, "I'll help you." And they're like, "You know where else to run." She's like, "You're right." Whee! Like, I expect her to, like, fly or something.
No.
So she just goes, "Dush, dush, dush, dush," through a building.
His name might be Eden. I can't... I don't know. I'm trying to look through the thing. And... I don't remember it being Eden, but, like...
No.
That is, by the way, what I was hoping to get out of this pit, Mason. That was where I was trying to go.
Say it, but
that's the only thing I could think about when I watched the scene. Yeah, there's also an implication that her brother's not a Neon.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because that's not. But he does have that heterochromia.
It's like it's hinted that they're just humans, because she goes, "How come I'm the only one that needs these?" You know, the shots.
But there's, like, maybe an implication her mother might not have been. Also, there's, like, an implication she was adopted. I don't know what's going on, because it's the point where she walks into the room and he's like, "I am your brother." And she's like, "Neat."
Yeah,
I guess.
Mason did something similar to this when we were watching it.
Neat.
It might be that the blue-haired one, cotton candy one, is actual person, like the actual child, which we do not know the name of. And then, like, her mom was like, "Hey, I will rebuild you. I will put you back together, all Five Nights at Freddy's style." And makes her child into a robot. And then that robot's called Rouge Red Star, or Black Star.
Red Star.
Red Star.
Red Star.
It's as on the nose as you think it is.
Yeah. And then she exists, but is a robot and needs to be told, "This is your family."
I can't wait for this girl to be called Azul Blue Star. Look.
Why would you do this to me? Oh boy. Here's where I stood last week. Last week I walked out of the episode really having the opinion of I would care a lot more about a lot of the major, like, key plot points we're hitting, like these fights, if I had more time with any of these characters. Because, like, what I really liked about episode 3, which was the train episode, was that, like, you were surrounded by people you got to know. Like, you spent the first half of that episode with them, and it was actually, like, because you didn't need to go super deep with those characters. It feels like we should know more about the Immortal 9, because they all are put into these positions where it's like, I feel like I should care about you, but I don't care enough about the Doctor, because he was here for half an episode, an episode and a half, and then he's gone. Like, he's just... and we don't get a lot of conversation between him and Rouge.
I will say because of episode 5, I kind of understand why we don't get a lot of information about them, because it very much seems like Rouge is just hunting them down because she's been told to, and now she's questioning it. So we're seeing it from Rouge's perspective of, I don't know these people. Why am I killing them?
There's just an odd, like, I think they do the Doctor character really well. They show off the fact that he doesn't like his situation at all very well, just through his behavior before you know he's the other Neon. But like it's like, you have such cool characters, you have such a cool concept. Let me spend a little more time with it, and this just makes me dread that this is a show that I'm gonna be like, you need a 24 or 21, not 12 or 13. Like, I know in my gut I'm gonna be like, I feel like you had, like, this will be something where I will see the news article in 6 months where it will be like author of Metallic Rouge really had originally planned to do a 24 episode series that he had to cut down to 12. I'm like, oh really? Huh. I really hope that's not the case.
I hope not. But...
And like, I'm still on board. There's a reason this is dead middle of the pack for me, is because it's cool. It has a lot of stuff that looks great. It sounds great. The action's good when we get it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the nerve gas fight, just because you don't get to do a lot with the setup you've given, especially when you make the clones or the double team images fucking, like, just pass through. Like, he's not a very good fighter, which makes that fight not too interesting, because he's like, I'ma eat your arm with my scissors hands, and then Rouge is like, no. And he's like, well, shit, I've lost. Like, Rouge that is like, that fight. And I just simply can't move any further backwards with episode 5, because I don't know yet. I need time to process what I just watched.
Yeah, episode 5 certainly existed. It wasn't bad, it was just...
It will suck
something.
If we spend, like... See, like, I'm so afraid we're just not gonna get this whole circus motif again. Like, again, I thought we would get a little more of them, but we're just dropped in and then kicked out. And I'm like, neat!
We also go from, like... The show, like, ends in the previous episode with, like, oh, the fight's over and Rouge has won. And then we wake up and we're just in the circus, like, headspace already.
Well, because
like,
the implication is, because at the end of episode 4, they do, after she beats him, she does fall unconscious on the scaffolding, and then they pan to the circus to imply they're coming for her. So, like, I don't have too big of an issue with that transition. It is interesting that Mr. Macho Man over there, the hot scavenger, it's just like, yeah, I know who she is. I saw her. And it's like, where the fuck did you see her? When? And what transitional part? Which, like, we knew he was in the city because they show him at the start of episode 4, like, in the background, just vibing.
Well, and he was also on
but, like,
the train.
But, like, we haven't, like, to be fair, he fucking... Was he technically on the train? I thought he just showed up.
No, he was on the train.
No, I'm pretty sure he shows up when they're looking at the broken down robots, and he just gets onto the train.
Because they show him at the start of the episode like he's gonna get on the train, and then he's not on the train, and then he shows up, and he stays on the train, and then he gets off, and he's just vibing in, like, the lounge area of the station. But then we don't see him for the entire rest of episode 4. So it's like, yeah, it took me a minute. I'm like, are you the same? I think, yeah.
I assume he's going to be one of the Immortal 9. It seems like the Immortal 9 outside of Rouge are the Neons that don't look like Neons.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's, like, their whole bit. They are people that were... Is Rouge one of the Immortal 9? Is that going to be the big twist at the end, that she's the 9th, that she has to kill herself?
Sure seems like an implication that might happen.
Is that going to be the big twist?
Hey,
is she the one who killed her mom?
Hey, you know what? You know what would be really funny about the fact of if she is the 9th of the Immortal 9, is that means really it's the Immortal 8 she has to kill. And how many Mega Man bosses are there per game?
Aren't there like 6 in the first game?
No, it's always 8.
Oh, it is 8 in the circle around you.
Yeah.
You're the middle of a fucking Minesweeper square.
Yeah. Like, we also talk about the fact that she just goes into light mode apparently at some point.
What do you mean by this? I'm confused.
She's gonna turn off her Google Chrome dark mode and become light mode.
Oh, you becomes Azul Blue Star.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right, I think she turned off light mode and became dark.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
She's gonna go back to light mode. She'll see the way.
Okay, gang. I think
the show's interesting. I think it's
okay.
good.
I think we go on to the next show because we sat here just yapping about nothing on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I expressed my thoughts, but that was like I tangented us, so I apologize. Do you have any clear, concrete, additional thoughts about Metallic Rouge? I know that might be difficult this week.
Nothing
Show's pretty
coherent that
cool.
makes sense, unfortunately.
Jazz.
Also, I was right.
Yeah, well, that's like last show. I'll give you it, but I'm not happy about it. Hey, John, talk about A Sign of Affection.
So, A Sign of Affection, in episode 4, we have Rin, who is her friend, asking her, hey, me and the shop owner are going out shopping. You should come too, and you could bring Itsuomi, and it'll be great. Like, kind of like a double date, but not a double date. We're just going to go out shopping. It'll be fun. So they all go out shopping together. And at the end of the day, just for the TLDR, at the station, she runs into her other friend, right? Who's mad because she's going off with her boy, who's just like, fucking deal with it, basically. And so they all hang out, they drive around, they go do their stuff, and then they finish shopping. And on the way, they're waiting outside, and Itsuomi pulls aside Ren and goes, "Hey, you like my manager, don't you?" And she goes, "What? No, I don't. I don't like the manager." He's like, "It's a shame. I was gonna help you out." Actually, yes, I do like the manager. How can you help? In which she's like, "Hey, you guys go on ahead with a nice car ride home. We're just gonna hang out for a bit and then walk home since we're close." To which our best girl just goes, "Hey, do you wanna get some food or something? Because it's getting like dinner time." And he's like, "That's really cute. No, I don't want to get dinner. How about you come over to my house though instead?" And that's where the 4th episode leaves.
But I'll go grab the pizzas first, because I am hungry.
He's like, "We will grab food on the way, but how about we just eat at my place?" So they have like some beer, they have some pizza, they chat a bit. We get scenes from both parties, and also like the friend again, who's hanging out with like one of his like female friends. It looks like, who says, "Tell your folks I said hi," which is interesting.
Yes, he gets a dog. He dog sits.
He does have a dog that he's sitting for. And we get more cute talking where they're like writing on the pizza and stuff. It's like, "How old are you?" It's like, he's 22, she's 19. Yay, adult romance pog. And so they're kind of asking questions through like the writing and stuff. And he actually has a moment where he's like, "Hey, is it insensitive when I ask you all these questions about being deaf?" Right? Where she's like, "It's fine because it's you," right? Which I think is important that he asks. A little bit late, but he asks. And we get plenty of like good like confused .jpegs of our main girl, Yuki. And then eventually the friends call and be like, "Hey, how'd it go? You guys good?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's hanging out with me at my house right now." And they're like, excuse me? What? And after some more talk, they show like the change and stuff. And then finally, like, she's getting ready to go. And then Emma shows up at the door, was the problem. She's like, "Actually, I gotta go home." And just walks out. And then Emma calls out something like, "Thanks for letting me stay at your place last night," to which Yuki does not hear because she is deaf. She's like, "Wow, she didn't react to that at all. That's crazy."
It is, and I will give it. It is kind of a funny bit from Emma's perspective only, because in a way she gets bodied so hard and she doesn't know it.
Oh yeah, and then Itsuomi absolutely pissed at her. He's like, "Not cool. Give me back my key. Leave." To which he goes and runs after her to try to catch her down. Can't do it. So he goes over to her house the next day and goes, "Hey, we were in the middle of talking. Can we finish that conversation?"
Which, to be fair, she saw her give the key over, which is why she chose to leave and not wait.
And so then she asks him like why he wants to learn sign language, and he's like, "Because I want to talk to you." And it's like, big cute. And then she basically says that he's her everything, and then he gives a little kiss on the hand, and that's where we leave episode 5. The show's really good. It's cute. I loved the part, like I said, where Emma's just like, yes, the ravaging sex we had last night," and she just goes, "I'm deaf." It just keeps going. It's like, ding. Floor 3.
I appreciate this because your synopsis has told me, John, that you and I view this show differently. We both really like it, but there is something that I feel like I've picked up on, or that I think the show is letting me pick up on that I like, which is it is casting doubt that Itsuomi is the right guy.
Yes.
I agree.
But you are so in on them, which is fine.
I love the ship. I love the ship, but it might not be right for her. Which, like, everyone's kind of suspect about it because they're just not sure because he hasn't done this before, right? he takes obsession with people and like cultures, but he hasn't like established that he's had relationships with people before.
We still don't know the whole Emma deal. I think we as a viewer are drastically being given a poor representation of her childhood friend on purpose. Because every scene, and I think what sealed that for me was the scene in episode 4, where they interacted at the train station, because Itsuomi just covers her eyes and blocks her view so that they can have that conversation about what the fuck's going on. And he's very possessive in that moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, yeah, maybe the friend was in the wrong the first couple of times, but I could understand where he sits now, or why he feels the way he does to a degree. There's also the line that we get from the store, from the restaurant owner, the cafe owner, where he's like, yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is that, like, you know, guys go through a thing where they're just like, yeah, this person is mine and mine alone. And he gives the subtle implication of like, and I don't mean that as in like you're the only person for me in this relationship. Like, he means that as like I have chosen you to monopolize you so that I get the benefits of being around someone who I think is like cute and attractive, and no one else gets to have that, and that gives me a power trip. Is kind of the way he portrays that.
Maybe. I do think it's interesting that we don't, like you're saying, like they're painting Emma as like the villain here, but we don't know the full side of the story as to why she's like this.
Now hold me out. Now hold on a minute. I do think she's still a piece of shit no matter what. I think the show has blatantly written her as like I don't think there's a redeeming quality about you because I think you're so hyper focused on this one man. To the point where, like, I think Mason and I talked about it. The other friend who's the hairdresser, like,
Jim, yeah.
Like, he's kind of
likes
like
her.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. Or, and Mason and I have also kind of dipped this in, maybe like it's Itsuomi a little bit too. You never know. I think you and I had that conversation, Mason, where we're like, he does strike me as a man who might bat for both sides.
Oh yeah.
And I really and let's highlight something real quick, guys. Absolutely awful friendship dynamic those two have.
Oh god. Those two are just so bad.
The guy I like, I just get nothing from him. How doesn't he realize it? Do you want to go drink alcohol? And he goes, I fucking guess, man. My life's not good, and I'm not gonna tell you why, but let's drink.
Eventually she'll fucking fall for me instead, right here.
But he is smart enough we learn in episode 5, he's smart enough not to drink when he has a big gig he has to do for, like, an actual hairdressing job.
Yeah, he's at least responsible.
Yeah, as responsible as he can get.
He's such a homie. I feel bad for him.
The opening of this show really, it let me know ahead of time that we were going to get into a complicated web of like relationships, whether they're all romance or not, because there's so many fucking characters just shown in a circle around each other.
Mm-hmm.
I still really like this show. It's been doing it since episode 1. I don't know what to call it, but like the little like hand drawn, like kind of like manga art line, like drawn that they do, but they like do it in like the light pink and white. That shit's incredible. That shit looks gorgeous.
They also have that like I call it like the Horimiya effect, where it's like the background, like character against a like gray or white background,
and they use them
like,
together.
Behind them, and it's just like
they use what you're talking about and what I'm talking about together, and it works perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Other thoughts, Michael?
No other thoughts. Show good.
Head empty.
Show good. Drama neat. I want to see where it goes.
Same.
Oh boy, I get to talk for the last time. That's not true. But, I mean, I get to talk about my
Never
show
get to speak again.
for the last time.
For the next time, for the last time.
Alright, this is one of those show titles I have to split onto 2 lines, because whoops. And I have to minimize the size once I do so, because it's a long title. Let me just go over. We'll talk. I'll move that screenshot for later because we'll talk about the best boy later. Episode 4.
Tamer and
weakest Tamer. Episode 4. Bags. There's so many fucking bags, and I love this bit so much. She gets to a town. She finds a caravan wrecked. and a bunch of people dead, and she reports to the guild, and the guild's like, great, we're gonna go confirm that, and if it's valuable information, we will pay you for it. Hold on to this slip. And she goes, neat, I guess. And they're like, by the way, what do you have in that bag? And she goes, a snake. And they go, why do you have a snake in a bag? You should take that to the apothecary. And so she does, and he's like, here's all this money. And she's like, that's a lot of money. And she calculates the money in ratio to field mice, because that's the only kind of currency she knows. Those are the 2 bits for this episode: field mice currency and bags. Because she stumbles upon another trash dump, as all cities have. And she's just like, that's a lot of magic bags. And as I was rewatching this with Mason, he goes, why did someone just leave a magic... Why is there a magic bag here? And then it pans, and he goes, is that a... And then it just keeps panning the more magic bags. I'm like, mm-hmm. So then she does the most terrifying thing anybody in a fantasy setting can do. She puts a magical bag into a magical bag.
I was like, no, Ivy, don't do it.
All of us had this
show could
visceral effect.
The show could have been drastically different if they chose to here.
The show's actually only 4 episodes. They're 3.5 episodes long. She puts a bag of holding into a bag of holding.
That's just gonna be what the abridge is of this show. But so she finds that some of the bags can only hold one other bag, and some of the bags don't reduce the weight of the things inside of them. So she splits them into 4 groups to then determine the best way to consolidate these bags so that she can carry them without having an increased amount of weight on her. Because she's a loot goblin. We're following a loot goblin around, and her slime companion who eats potions. He also makes progress by eating red potions this episode, and purple potions when they are mixed from red and blue potions, but no other time. He's a picky boy.
But an effective one.
Yeah, she gets more money and ratios that to more field mice. We meet Crom. And then she gets ready to leave this village. I don't think anything else really happens outside of that. We get those bits. Oh, she pulls out the receipt out of the bag and then realizes that it's actually in the other bag, and then she has to empty all her bags out. And then tries to leave without her bags. And the receptionist is like, "Miss, sir, can those?" And she's like, "Oh, I forgot about the bags." And then she's just carrying 70 bags through town. Episode 5 opens with us stumbling upon the best boy, who she names after the sky again. She has a problem. We must stop her.
She has one naming scheme, and that's all.
And she doesn't even know why.
It's gonna be Sky in another language.
Yeah. I love it personally. So we have CL here, which also just means because the slime is Sora and this cat is CL, we're just building like a JRPG party of tamed creatures. These are just Tales of names, dude. This large cat's adorable, and I'm sure we'll be back later. I was honestly expecting it to maul somebody towards the later half of this episode.
Fair.
She makes her way to the next town where a totally not shady guy gets absolutely brutalized by the tower guard's captain as he slices through his bag in a way that drops everything out of it and then pauses and then drops all the alcohol out of it, which is funny. And then she gets intimidated by him because a large man who is violent. And then a praying mantis lands on her shoulder and she goes, "You have a bug." And he goes, "Whoa, thanks for letting me know. Is it gone?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, he's dumb. I think I'm fine." And then Ivy continues into the town and finds a camping area where she gets a little thing that's like, "Yeah, I'm allowed in here." And then she goes and buys a tent because she needs a tent because she wants Sora to exist outside of the bag. Sora, by the way, at this point has gotten much more sturdier, very, very clearly so. And he's talking more. Not like words yet, but he's talking. He also
Bro just talks in Puyo.
He's also an alarm clock, as we learned from episode 4, which I adore that bit a lot. And he vibrates.
Getting smaller when he heals stuff. Is it?
We haven't seen enough healing. No.
I feel like he should. So my brain feels like it should, so it feels like it does, but I don't think it actually does. So I get confused.
We do need to talk about the one major flaw that's kind of building, which is, I get it. Ivy's a kid. Should not be dumb enough to not realize that their slime heals. You were on death's door, then your slime saved you. The cat you found was literally about to go to the afterlife, and then your slime saved it.
Also, she could have just tried to tame the cat. Like, she didn't even try.
I think the implication is she has. But like,
well, the
she
implication
didn't.
is the cat just likes her, but she hasn't shared any magic, so it's not officially tamed. So it could.
Yeah,
in
it doesn't.
theory
It doesn't
still
have like
interface if
the
it's decided
forehead
to.
symbol, because that's like
Oh,
like you have
true,
tamed
I didn't think about
official
that.
like
Yes.
thing.
But I
It could
also,
technically still turn on her if it's hungry now.
but to be fair, I think it makes sense that she doesn't try because, as far as she
It's high
knows,
level.
she fucking isn't able to.
Yeah.
Some people tried to bully her and get her tent. Which leads to what is a really funny line, which is the guy's like, "You stole my tent," and Ivy goes, "Are you the guy who sold the tent to the blacksmith?"
Are you
And he
lazy
goes,
Jojo?
Are you lazy Jojo? And he goes,
Jojo?
"Who the fuck is that?" And Ivy's like, "Oh, then I don't think I have your tent." Also, really weird to establish that you should write something in the tent to prove it's yours, and then not
Yeah,
use
and
that as the
not
resolution
use
to
that
the
guy.
situation.
Yeah.
Instead, the town's guard.
I'm sure they're gonna be like, well, what'd you write in the tent?
I can't write. Oh shit. Also, two of these people just get away. Wild.
At least temporarily.
Yeah. So I am glad that episode 4 we met Crom, and episode 5 we got to meet Ellie. We got to meet Wood right before he hits old age. No, he's too smart. He's not smart enough to be Wood. He's a mixture of Wood and Hector. That's what it is.
So important thing we learned this episode, with us getting to another village. This world has the greatest naming scheme for anything, which is all three of them written out in English are the same fucking word. But then you just pronounce all of them slightly differently because she was birthed in Latomi. Then the next major town she got to was Latome, and now she's in Latome.
Mm-hmm.
All of them spelled Latome, I believe.
No, one has an I.
Latom, Latome, and Latomi.
Yeah.
But Latome and Latome are spelled the fucking same. Unless one of them doesn't. Unless Latome doesn't have a thing at the end.
It tricks your brain. You really do think that's the case because for the past 3 episodes, I'm like, I'm sorry, you're going back to your home. What's going on? Because these three towns are named the worst. The village and the 2 towns are just. I had to pause where it was like my final destination is the capital, and I'm like, is there a way for that capital's name to turn into the other 3 cities' names so far? Is there a connecting point where we have found? And maybe the most important thing, we get a really cute map transition that we've had for a while, which now we have a small little chibi cat on too. It's just there. It's adorable. I like this show. I don't really think outside of like the small gripes that to me are more jokes to me. I'm not really upset about the town name or the not realizing her slime can heal and she doesn't need to save her fucking potions, because that bit's actually kind of funny at the end of this episode where she's like, "This is not yours. Get away. This is mine. Nope. No, get the fuck away from my potion. Yours are over there."
The idea is that the slime healing seems to be noticeably slower. At least, like, especially with her arm, it was like really slow. But I guess it was also because her arm was like fuck.
It also did take a long time to heal this cat. Like they noticeably passed time where she's just kind of chilling.
Yeah, this seems to be like it's a slower heal, but the slime doesn't like use the resource. It uses it more efficiently or something.
Probably.
Who knows?
But I just think this show's good. It's a nice little cozy vibe that will eventually stab me every once in a while. And otherwise, like I don't really have, like it's a good show. And the stuff I have below it is stuff that like I have like some things that irk me a little bit sometimes. I certainly don't have a large enough flutter. I'm like, this should die this week. That seems right. And I think it's a little more interesting than some of our laid back, just chill vibe shows. Which for me is like, okay, you get higher marks because you're actually maybe doing something.
Yeah, the show's just neat. It's like a really, outside of the part where anytime you meet a character, I mean, they didn't do this in episode 5 at least. They didn't have every character go, "Oh, sorry, I did this with my level 2 intimidation skill."
Yeah, they're gotten a lot better at. I don't think we've learned anybody's skill for like the past episode. And a half.
Sorry, my 1-star bartering skill. It'd be really funny if they kept doing that. That was a dumb bit.
I think it was just to establish, like, remind you this is what this world's about, and then they're like, but they don't do it to everybody.
I imagine it's going to become important later, and then Ivy's going to have to say hers, and then bad things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But can you just lie and say it's 1-star? Who can tell?
No, but remember what the witch said? You gotta be truthful.
People you like.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Elliewood here, I'm pretty sure is in the opening.
I
just
don't know if
one
he
good, funny.
There's certainly a red-haired guy in that like camp scene in the opening.
I would have to look.
Okay, now.
Because I'll be honest, I've seen some of the manga covers, and I've seen some of the I've seen like one character who's very prolific on like volume like 3, 5, and other. I'm like, I don't know if we've met you. You look like every other male character we've met in a strange way, but I can't tell if they just fucked up the coloring of your character. Because it looks like the guy who looks like Crom. And let me be clear. The guy from episode 5 does not actually really look like a Fire Emblem character in particular. The guy from episode 4 is Crom. I am confident of that wholeheartedly. They just put a little they just put a little X on his forehead. Crom in another world.
I just want to see
in another world as Crom.
I want to know what's happening in the village outside of like.
Yeah, they're talking like some real bad shit's going on over there, like beyond what happened.
Cult shit. Some cult shit's going on now because that guy took over. But like, I just want to know what that cult shit did. But yeah, I like Tamer. I definitely think it's definitely gathering a bit more steam for me because things are actually kind of happening now, as opposed to just her living in the forest hunting rats. But yeah, I mean it's gonna be a slow burn because that's just what. When you start with babby child character, not every show is gonna be Ranky of Kings.
This show also has the vibe that it's gonna go for a while.
Yeah,
because like she's so far from the capital.
But she's also so far from home already.
But like, if you consider the fact that she's a child, like there is a non-zero chance at any point in time that like they can just get ahead of her. But it does seem like we're staying here for a little bit because of the whole dangerous monsters afoot.
Yeah, we could also have I mean, I get the opening doesn't show any visual ideas for it, but we could have a time skip at some point where she just is in one of the towns for a while.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if the people didn't show up when they did, she would have been in that first major town, like where she was selling the mice for a while.
But it also makes sense that like the wanted posters move fast enough in that first town. Like you do got to be like a couple.
Like super far away.
Yeah, you got to be a couple of trading spheres away before you can feel a little safe.
Yeah.
We want to move on.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. We met the spider that's gonna cause sadness. Oh no, that's another.
That's the other fantasy show.
Yeah, Brain forgot. That's another show.
How could you forget the other fantasy?
I'm actually really excited to talk about.
I said I was like, oh wait, that's the other one, and that's in that one's opening, and I just watched this opening and it wasn't in it.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It's me.
Yes, it is.
Yo, it's time for Hokkaido gals are super adorable, and boy, in this episode. They fucking adore. This episode's so good.
Hot take.
We gotta watch episode 4 though.
Hot take before you get there. I think the star of episode 5 is the main character, but Will.
The fuck even happens in episode?
Mom. Snowstorm.
Oh shit, you right. We meet the MILF. Yeah.
Mom.
That's episode 4, right?
Mom. Snowstorm.
Yeah.
Shopping. That's all.
But yeah, episode 4 is Yeah, so it's like oh it's blizzarding. You should you gotta walk to school in the blizzard, and he's like Grandma, that's a dumb idea, and she goes, nah.
That's how you become a true man.
As they say in place where we are, which is her lying. You gotta brave it to be a true man or something. And he goes outside and then
almost
before
dies.
he like dies of hypothermia immediately. Can't think of her name.
Fuyuki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of her first name, and my brain wants to say Mikan. Yeah, it's like I want to say Mikan, and I know it's not Mikan, different character. Yeah, she shows up and she goes, "Hey, hop in the car," and then because she's being driven to school, because I'm like, yeah, it's snowing, very badly. And then we meet the mom, and then Tsubasa hits the Riz, and Riz is up both of them in the car, and it's a funny ass moment.
He doesn't even mean to. It's fucking incredible.
He's just the goodest boy, and he's just vibing being a good boy, and it's like, wow, being nice to people is a good thing to do. That's crazy. But yeah, the mom's like really trying to hook these two up, and it's really funny. But yeah, then they like get to school and do some shit, and now Akino and Minami are friends, which is based, or like Minami really wants to be Akino's.
They play games.
Yeah, Switch has games.
Switch has games.
Yeah, Switch has games. Minami attempts to play Super Bash Sisters Plus Ultimate Edition on the Nintendo Switch. On the Nintendo Switch.
She does do better than he did.
Yeah, I think she like wins on her first try, or on the stage, whatever.
And then they go shopping.
Is that?
Yeah, they do it. They do it in both episodes.
I don't even remember what happens in this shopping trip.
They go for color
Is it Shiki and Minami this time, or no?
So it's
all
the
three
first
of them.
time. It's all three of them.
Because they
and
do the
pick
photo
whatever
booth.
Tsubasa picks out.
Yeah, they do the photo booth, the color contacts, other stuff that girls do.
Weird to me that they talk about sharing the color contacts, because that seems unhygienic.
Yeah, but like broke high school students, they need it.
My thought is like maybe it comes in a pack, and the idea is like you split it. So you
I
save
think
some
the idea
money.
is like, oh, you get these two, I get the whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
And this is good this is a good bestie bonding time. And also I believe this episode starts the idea with Minami and Akino both going, so you like him, right?
Yeah.
To each other, because they both very obviously like this boy, but it's very obvious which one Shiki likes more of the two. Though he doesn't know he does. It's very obvious which one he likes more.
Look, man, you only play piano for your one true love.
Oh god, that moment was so good.
If I had a nickel for every time we played piano this week.
Is it in episode 4 where she does the karaoke, or was it 5 where she does the karaoke?
It's 5 starts the karaoke, and we also just meet the boy.
Oh, yeah, 5 just hard starts with them at like a little meeting of them doing karaoke. And we get to see red-haired boy that we haven't seen, but we know is in the opening, so he's gonna be important.
Who's not nearly as fun as he is in the opening.
Yeah, he's kind of a douchebag, honestly.
He's kind of an ass. But yeah, they're like do some karaoke, and it's like Akino bonding time with people because she's never spoken to another creature ever, apparently.
Also, apparently, Tsubasa's really good at singing.
Yeah,
he just is.
I mean, yeah,
which the
it probably has to do with his whole like being brought up as a rich kid.
Yes, the implication comes later with the piano as well. That's like, oh, he's good at it just because he was probably privately tutored.
Yeah. Episode 5. We kind of end that section, that like whole thing with like Valentine's Day is coming up, and then he's like, and then it's like, and Chiki's like, fuck, I'm not gonna get any chocolate, but like it'd be really sick if I got chocolate. I'm not gonna expect to get any chocolate. And then we have this whole then like most of the episode isn't even him. He's like not there. It's Akino and Minami making chocolates and being besties. And then they're making chocolates. They're on the phone together. Then Akino asks Minami Minami asks Akino an awkward question.
Yeah, she just loads a gun into her.
Yeah. Also, Minami apparently is really famous for her chocolates. She makes lots of chocolates, and everyone really enjoys them. And Akino's trying to make chocolates. Her first time ever, because she's never made chocolates for anyone. She doesn't talk to people. She's a gamer, the most oppressed group of all. And then after Minami loads the gun, she accidentally slips, knocks over her Soylent Green, her soft whatever. I don't remember what the drink's called. Almond milk.
And then
which then fucking Rube Goldberg machines into soy sauce falling onto her cookies.
Why did she have it on the table? What the fuck was she doing with the soy sauce?
Because she didn't clean up the kitchen beforehand. It was just there from the dinner. Her mom told her to clean up, and she's like, "Nah, I'll be okay." And
I'm built different.
And then Minami like immediately hangs up, and at that moment you're like, "Oh shit." Oh shit, sad boy hours. Oh no, I don't want this. And then we get to school tomorrow, and Shiki immediately notices Minami has like red marks under her eyes. And I'm like, fuck. She's been crying hours. No, bad show. Don't hurt me like this.
And then she gives out
and then Red Boy's an ass.
Yep.
And goes, hey Minami, where's my chocolate? And she gives him like a pre-wrapped one, and he's like, what the fuck? I wanted that homemade chocolate. And she's like, too bad, production's on hold this year.
Yeah,
holding back immense amounts of
she's
tears.
real nice and cute about it.
And then Akino notices, she's like, oh god, she is in emotional disarray right now. Shiki, I think, also kind of has an idea about it. Because he's like, wait, she was like really looking forward to those chocolates. Something's up. And then they're like cleaning after school because they're down to cleaning duty.
You forgot the part where she absolutely bodies the redhead in the hallway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Akino fucking goes, "Hey, bitch," and he goes, "Damn, you right." My B.
You talk to Fuyuki like that again, and I will kill you.
And he's like, "Damn, okay."
And he's like socially, and she's like,
"You don't want to know the answer to that question."
Because she's a gamer, she will kill you.
Oh, but yeah, it's also important thing. Yeah, whatever, we'll get into this later. But yeah, they're cleaning and they're in the music room. They're like, "Wow, it's weird because like it's snowing or because of either Valentine's Day or snow or whatever."
It's exam time.
Oh, exam time. Clubs are canceled, which we also get. Yeah. So it's like, wow, it's really weird not hearing like the band practicing and making lots of noise because that's what the band does. And he's like, I'm gonna fix that sad. Or no, then she starts crying about the chocolates, I believe.
Yes.
Because she finally is like open and has like a free time to do it, and it's like, damn, that hurts. And then Shiki goes, "I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to talk to girls. I've never done that before."
Michael, this is the most you fucking seen on the planet, by the way.
He's like, "I'm gonna go play the piano," and then he plays the song that she sang at the karaoke, which she says during the karaoke is her favorite song.
Because it always
and
cheers
it's
her
a
up.
really cute moment. And it's like, damn, that's bass. Akino's also outside listening on this whole thing. And then she walks in, she's like, "Shiki, that was bass." And then she actually walked in to give Minami her chocolate, because it was Buddy's chocolate. None for Shiki. I think he ends up getting some anyway, but like it wasn't for Shiki.
So here's the thing: he gets a bag. She clearly, in my opinion, gets what was probably meant for him. Because it's like a nice red, like bow wrapped box of chocolates, which feels more like you would give to the person you have a crush on.
No, it was homie's chocolate.
But I think, well, of course she says it, but I
honestly
honestly
that's
think
the bit. That it's supposed to be homie's chocolate, but he gets the extra.
Yeah.
Which he couldn't do. He couldn't like whatever. But yeah, episode 5 was just really good.
There's a lot of knives in this episode because like the whole idea of her choosing to give her the more meaningful chocolate is her making the conscious decision of, shit, I came here to riz up my crush, and I think I can't do that because that feels really, really fucking atrocious to do in front of my friend who is also crushing on him. So guess we're not gonna do that today.
Yeah.
John, we had a conversation on last week's episode where I talked about this turning into a harem, and you said that you weren't concerned about that, and that was a concern of mine. It's no longer a concern of mine. Make this a harem. Hurt me. Make this a harsh wheel of rejection so that nobody is happy by the end of it. That's what I want.
We got the next character.
I'm sure. I'm sure I'm not gonna like him, but
no. So the title I think specifies. Because the title for Akino is Akino doesn't like to talk to.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And episode 6's title is another person that is like very pretty or whatever.
Yeah. So here's where I was with this show. Last week, this was ready to go. Not because like I disliked last week, just because it didn't offer me anything that I felt was particularly valuable as a show. Like, I was ready to just kind of be like, I could go without watching this. I legitimately enjoyed most of this episode the full way through, as, like, they are actually building these 3 characters as, like, a group very well.
They're also just good friends.
But don't be surprised if I fall back into my previous thought on this. Because while I really like this episode...
I also fall back. I just like this episode. I really wanted to boost it for it.
Yeah.
The piano pole's wild. They really get you with it, where it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna do the thing. He did the thing.
And it's animated like surprisingly well.
Yeah, like it's like really accurate. I don't know how accurate, because I don't have.
It's actually surprisingly accurate. For
but it looks correct. He's playing chords where there should be chords being played.
Mm-hmm.
Something that
it's not him fucking doing bullshit.
Something that's very weird to me is that they set him up as a main character, and I think this will become a flaw. Of the show for me. They set him up as I am the kid from Tokyo who might not hit off with everybody else because they're gonna expect me to have been in Tokyo doing things with friends, and I didn't do jack shit of any of that. And, like, this episode with the karaoke, I was really expecting it to be, like, some of the people there would be like, oh, you ever got a karaoke? You're from Tokyo, hotshot. What's up? You never got chocolate? But everyone's just fine. Everyone's just vibing. It's not a big deal at all that he's, like it's odd. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like, it's great that people are nice to him. But it worries me that it's going to make him come off as someone who doesn't really have any flaws as a main character. And in a romance, that's an odd choice to make. Like, outside
of like social skills, right?
But like, it's whatever. He gets by. It's fine. Like, that's like the thing, right? Like, it's not to me. It's not like a noticeable enough flaw to matter, right? Like the actual like, oh, I don't have this social experience. Everyone thinks I should. Like, I'm instead like a sheltered rich kid who focused on my family and is super hyper fixated on that. That's an actual interesting like character dynamic that can get flushed out, causing him to have to pull away. And I'm sure they will do that just because of how they've portrayed his grandmother. But like, I don't know. I'm a little worried about that, and I'm pretty ready to expect this show to kind of wheel back for me. So we'll see how long. I moved it up a lot because I was like, okay, it goes up a lot because this episode's good.
It's a really good episode.
He's probably gonna pop right back down, like a bit at least.
Yeah,
so like, this episode was just good. There was no fan service in it. Good
Holy
character
shit!
moments.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that. That absolutely is a major reason I like this episode.
No, that's part of why this episode jumped up for me as well. It was because it didn't focus on cum shot on the titties.
But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about it is that this is a really perfect sign about why I think a lot of us hold this belief about fan service is that this episode didn't have any, and to me it didn't faze me that it didn't have any because it just felt like a good episode of a good show. Whereas
it's almost like the show doesn't need it.
Yeah,
it's a good, well-written characters and they're good.
It's almost like when you add it, you accurately, you like very apparently notice it every time it's in your fucking face, because that's the point of it. And if you don't, and if you're not here for it, if that's not why you've chosen to watch the show, it hinders it.
Mm-hmm.
Other thoughts on Hokkaido, guys?
I'm kind of fully with this. Like, I really like the way it's going recently, and I hope it keeps moving away from the plot and focuses more on the plot.
Yeah.
I also love the new character acting. That was great.
Yeah, I like.
She is a being that needs to be protected.
I like the set of characters, but she also does some protection herself, and that's neat. Okay, guys. This is another one where I feel like I should, before I flashbang the audience, I should inform my co-hosts of how I'm flashbanging the audience.
My eyes!
Let's talk about BUCCHIGIRI.
Ecstasy! Hey, the 40.
Yeah, so, episode 4...
God, what happens in episode 4? I don't remember. Does the gang war start? Technically, is that...
When the gang war stuff starts.
Oh,
it's when the stuff starts. So
we
basically,
get thoughts on the brother, too.
So, basically what happens in episode 4, yeah, the brother stuff, too. So, the third gang arrives and is kind of like causing. They're the worst. They're causing fights between the two Sigma and Minato Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sigma.
I can't handle it.
Because they want to take over. And how they're doing it is they're picking people off like one by one and framing the other gang for doing it by like stealing armbands from people. And then while this is happening, we get backstory from Matakara where we find out that his brother was like a big role model to him and he was like part of why he joined gangs. And then
his brother used to run the gang.
Yeah, his brother used to be like second in command of the Minato Kai, and then went to fucking juvie.
Mason, can I share the interaction we had during this episode? Because I think it's worth it. Mason's like, is he fucking dead? And I'm like, arguably worse. And he's like, is he Ninja Sanji? Is he like Ninja Sanji? And I'm like, You know what? You're closer than you think. He's in jail, buddy. You're right. Crimes are being committed.
Yeah. And then Arjun is useless. That's basically what I remember.
Can I talk about how he's useless quick?
Oh, by all means.
So
I don't fucking remember
we spend episode 4 with Matakara going, the only person who can stop this conflict is Origin. And so he goes to Origin at his house, to which his mom adores having his childhood friend back. And then they talk in the room, and he's just like, no, why the fuck are you here? Get out of my house. Don't show up at my house unannounced. Get the fuck out of here. And his mom's like, oh, such angst. And it's maybe the only good bit in the episode.
Yeah, his mom's great.
And then because he fails there, and Matakara has a brain, he then goes to Jin at school, and it's like, you have to convince Origin to convince your brother to stop this, because he's the only person who can do it. And she's like, I'm gonna scream at you.
Sean, I want to remind you, Jin is the family name. There's
I know.
Two of them there.
I know, I just don't... what's her name? Maho?
Maharo.
It doesn't help that their name... Yeah, I know, that's why I just... They tend to refer to her as Jin more often than they refer to him as it.
Yeah, fair.
Is how my brain feels like I remember. It doesn't help that his name's also Origin, so we're just really locked in on that one. But yeah, so he takes her down into the classic confession school stairwell, which causes Origin to lose his fucking shit. And for his spirit buddy, whose name I can't remember.
Senya.
Yeah, for Senya to be like, damn, your boy's got Riz, you're about to lose. At which point, instead of letting her scream, he fucking cups her mouth and is like, look, I have a brother. I love my brother. This is gonna be a problem if we don't stop this war. And she goes, you have a brother you love? Well, shit. And then she fucking plays Origin like a fiddle, and he goes to walk into Siguma, to try to convince him to stop the war, at which point he pussies the fuck out. Who could have seen it coming? Yeah, I think that's the roundabout. And then on his way back from pussying the fuck out, he runs into the Emperor, and we get the reveal that he might also have a stand.
Yeah, and
a
then,
kicking stand.
Yeah, so he meets the Emperor. I forget his actual name.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's like Shindo or something.
This guy.
Yeah, and he Arjun punches him in the face real good.
Like you do.
And he gets back up, and he's like, "That's not happened before. That's not okay." He gets.
It's happened twice already.
Well, they don't get up that quick.
No.
They like take it in for a while.
They're like fully knocked out until like the next day.
He like Yomushi pedal villains like snap spine back into place.
Yeah. And next episode 5 starts with Matakara like coming to the Emperor's hideout because he finds out from one of his like other guys that they beat the shit out of him and stole his armband and then planted it on the like third or second in command guy from Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're having so many issues. And then Matakara goes to the Emperor and finds Arjun half naked, being a fucking idiot.
He's playing the King's game.
Yeah.
To get laid.
Yeah, to get laid. And Matakara tries to fight the Emperor and gets the ever-loving shit beat out of him. Gets tied up, like bound and gagged, and thrown into this back room. Arjun goes and talks to him for a second, but leaves pretty quickly.
But we finally get the flashback so that we have full context of how this situation played out.
Yeah, so we finally get the backstory of why Arjun, like what happened with Arjun and Matakara. And basically they were playing as kids and some like middle schoolers came and were like making fun of them. Matakara picked a fight and got beat within the inch of his life by like 3 kids that were twice his size.
And Arjun decided not to fuck with that and watched it
And
happen.
left.
Yeah, and then ran away. Which, like, let me be very clear. audience, I don't hate Origin for that decision.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm messaging back someone really quick about something that I need
That's
for
like the one time
podcasts.
where Arjun were like, wow, actually based moment where he's like, yes, let's not be toxic towards the let's defend the girl I'm interested in when he's trying to use her as a tool.
We'll
Yeah.
get there. It is the only redeeming thing that happens in this entire show, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is they end up Arjun gets kind of suckered into joining the NG boys, where they have a full-on dance number and everything. Like it's like a full-on event, where they follow the 4 E's: enjoy, something, ecstasy, and emperor. I don't remember what the second one is. I'll be real. I watched these either late at night or when after a work day that was very long.
Which is fair.
And then they end up going to like basically like just outside of where the gangs are getting ready to start their war. And they're like pulling up to like just third party them essentially. I've watched them wipe each other out and picking off the stragglers. And while they're doing this, Emperor is just like, hey Arjun, I know you're like kind of on the fence about this, but like once we do this, I'll just take Maharo. And Arjun goes, what did you just say? He's like, yeah, she'll be my I'm gonna take her. She's gonna be my slave, and I'll loan her out to you sometimes. And Arjun just beats the shit, like gives him another good punch, and is like, no, that's not how this works.
And he runs away. And he runs away to take shit.
Yeah. And all of the other guys are just kind of standing there for a bit. Meanwhile, Matakara comes into the like impending war that's starting in a minute. As like, hey guys, like, call this off. Like, we can't do this. It was a setup. I have proof. And they're like, we don't give a shit, dude. We're starting a war.
Blood
That's
for the
just
blood
what's
god.
happening. Yeah, fuck you. Doesn't matter. They're like, even if that were true, we don't believe you. And they're like, Matakara's like, fuck. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Arjun comes running in with all of the Emperor's like gang following behind him because they're trying to kill him for punching the Emperor.
I forget. Are the leaders still? Do we end on the leaders still about to fucking cross blows?
Yes.
Yes.
God.
Yeah,
The
that's
idea is
happening.
that Minato or Mahito and
Ken.
or whatever Marito, not Mahito. Mahito's the fucking JJK villain.
Yes.
Yes.
Marito and
Ken.
Ken are they are just enemies outside of this. This is just a reason to fight.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Emperor wakes up and goes, "Yep, for sure, that's Senya in there," which confirms that he does in fact have the other honky man.
He's another honky man, and they were roommates.
So
But
here's
what we did notice.
These two honky people were roommates.
One big thing we noticed though is that the one that's possessing Shido clearly has full control because there's a moment where he like cracks and like scratches his whole neck down, like, and then like goes back to just being like this creepy like obviously like honkai person.
well,
right?
it's also important to note that this one
Monkey
specializes
Star Rail.
in kicks. And you know who else specializes in kicks?
Our boy.
Matakara.
Yeah.
Which like basically
And whips.
I've talked about this. Like they're very clearly, I think, setting up for like a passing the spirit on to Matakara for conflict purposes. Like once the Emperor gets dealt with. Like I feel like it's so visible of like a path line to take, because once you like this can't happen for 8 more episodes.
Yeah.
Like there has to be a transition or switch up in the dynamic. Yeah, I just really fucking hate Origin.
Fair.
Because he doesn't
No.
try. He doesn't try, and that's what you like. He could give anything to anyone, like just a little ounce of any fucking care to any person. And it's like it's even what gets me is it's not even necessarily like I want to give him the good, you punched him out, but it's like, but you also still sat there and thought and really thought about the idea of just giving up on her and getting any other girl. And it's like, so what is your compass that guides you in life? Is it just not to get your shit kicked in? Because you're doing a bad job of that too, kid. Like, everything else is so interesting. And like there is almost assuredly like some kind of like structure piece to the gangs here where it's like the old school traditional style, the new school like street style, the people who are just the fucking worst hall monitors known to man, and like it's probably an accurate like representation of like certain eras of gangs that exist like wholeheartedly.
We have the old school, we have the new school, we have the cops.
Yeah, and I would love to like really dive in and enjoy that, and it's just like I don't care. You've lost me with Madakara being such a better character that like I would even take him being like a dual protagonist alongside Origin, but everything is so Origin framed. Like the best parts of episode 4 are the stuff with Madakara and his brother. And like and him actually like having a clear idea of where he should go to try to solve this problem of something he cares about. And I'm like, I just wish it existed elsewhere outside of his character.
Yeah.
Question quick for John and Michael. Mason and I think we've solved something in this show. What is the teacher going to the brothel bit?
It's a cat cafe.
Michael?
Okay.
No, it has to be a cat.
It has to be a cat cafe,
and
right?
it's gonna be a bit that they're never gonna resolve until like episode 12 or something.
Yeah, it'll be the very end of it, but we'll get it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like, oh wow, Jasmine was like, I can't wait for it to be something absolutely wild, and Jasmine's like a fucking eldritch horror.
Jasmine's just like a 300-pound, like 6'4"
It's
Russian
actually
woman.
it's actually the
No, it's
teaser.
actually fucking Cthulhu.
No,
like, you bring a gift offer to Cthulhu.
It's a teaser for season 2 where the main conflict's gonna be a third honky man, but it's a honky man in the body of a cat.
Honk 3 man.
Honk.
What are your guys? What are the other thoughts? Because I very clearly, and it should be noted, still not the bottom of my PR ranking this week, and I'm going to talk about why. But it would be there. It's a sad sort of affairs that it's not the bottom of my PR because I really do want it to be there at this point.
The only thing keeping the show going for me, is the fact that I think the Ken and Marito fight's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's literally it.
But
like that's the only reason
I'm glad
I'm not going to watch it just to watch that fight.
So,
if it even happens, if it doesn't.
My problem is shows like this that are going to be shorter, need to move really fast to make it interesting, and it's not moving that fast, and it's not.
I don't think it's going to be a short show. I think it's designed to run for a while.
Yeah,
it's a Mappa show.
You gotta remember, it's a Mappa show.
Shadow manga.
So
this is original. It isn't built on a manga. It's completely original.
Yeah. So my thing on this show is I understand the issues. I have it higher simply because my thought on it is I feel like this is going to be the turning point of the show where, like you said, it has to change.
You're too generous.
Now they're like merging through the power of
episodes.
being constipated.
What was that?
Which one
Sean?
of us? Oh, I think you're being generous. I think it's at least another 2 episodes before. Because here's the thing: you have to deal with this conflict. You have to set up the transition of enemy, like, and then you get all the good shit. Like this is a reverse BUCCHIGIRI. BUCCHIGIRI. Because BUCCHIGIRI I really liked at the beginning, and then it was dog shit for its last 3 episodes. This is gonna be dog shit until its last 3 episodes, where I'm gonna, because you get to have the nice dynamic where it's like, oh, what finally gets Origin through it was seeing his friend be evil, and it's him having the actual conversation with his brother who gets out of juvie. He's like, you are the only person who can pull him out of this depths, and you have to do like the Naruto Sasuke, the Sora Riku, and like it'll be good shit, it'll be good action. Like I'm sure this show's gonna be great. I don't want to give it the time to get there because I don't think it deserves it. That's where I lie.
Have been the word.
I'm also of the opinion that I think there are at least 2 shows that are worse than this at this point.
I'm of the opinion.
Definitely debatable one way or the other, and we're gonna vote on stuff, and we're gonna find out.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
I'm of the opinion that like, at least Sasaki and Peeps fire something somewhere. There's like some things that I kind of like. I guess it's tricky. A show that I don't really want to watch, or a show that I fucking hate to watch. That's tough. Because the other one's going. I know that's for sure. I know the other show that's in your brain, Mason's going. Because if you and I have it as low as we do, it's not getting out of this week. And Michael, this is how you know I'm so gone in relation to expecting anything from this show. I full-heartedly still expect next episode to open to do a little bit of build-up recap, to have the 2 of them fucking trade blows and then have them go, no, we were in the wrong. Let's beat the shit out of them. Because that's just how... Because I expected them to do this when they first confronted each other, is for them to cross blows, look at each other and go, we know the truth now. But, like, still not necessarily have the ability to calm their whole gang down. I'm worried we're not going to get a dope-ass fight. I really am.
I think we are between these 2 because they just want to settle the score already because they've been sick of each other for a while, and this was just a good answer for them to beat each other up.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We just get to go right on into the. Oh no, not yet. We do get the breather.
Yeah, we do.
I thought we were hopping right on into Witch and the Beast.
No, we got another good show to talk about.
Yeah,
first.
you get to talk about.
Debatably.
You get to talk about what is, in my opinion, probably the show that has the best episode that's come out ever, and then we can talk about episode 5 too, I guess.
Episode 5 is fine. But so
sure.
Before it continues where it left off, where our main boy is in the dungeon, and Jibu's like, well, I have to clear this dungeon. I could go back, but like that's bitch behavior. I have to just start beating things up. So he just starts beating the shit out of all these wolves and like getting massive level gains, which previously he just gotten stat point increases apparently, but now he's getting level ups that also increase your stats across the board. And so he gets through all these monsters like, wow, I noticed that the system goes from red to yellow to green, or
White.
based off of like it's like red to orange to white, yeah. Based off how like difficult the monster is for my level. And now I'm level 18 or whatever, but there's a stairs down, and I think that's gonna be the boss. Which I could go back because there's a fog gate, but decides, nah, I gotta do this because what happens if I don't clear this dungeon and this monster gets released or I fail? And so he goes down and fights this giant basilisk monster, and called I forget what it's called. But
It's
anyway,
not important.
It's not important. All that's important is he
What it's
fighting this
called
monster.
is a jobber, babe.
And he's trying to hit it. He's trying to beat up. And he's like, man, this thing's beating the shit on me. This sucks. I don't have my knife anymore, my sword. I have to get stronger. And goes, you know what? I got something better idea. And grabs onto the snake and goes, you know what? Fuck it. And just snaps the snake's like neck basically by just digging his hands in and killing it in like one shot.
It's a jobber, baby.
So he gets out of the dungeon. And a police officer stops and goes, hey, you gotta evacuate because there's some bad shit going on here. He's like, whoa, I wonder what happened. A gate burst. Wait, you're a hunter? You have a weapon? Come take a look. He's got this broken sword. So he walks over and goes, huh. Let's see, we got a C rank defender and a bunch of D and E ranks. This isn't really great, to be honest. No, it's just a D rank defender with a bunch of E ranks. They're like, well, this is not the greatest thing here. And so he's like, you know what? I guess I should probably help out. They're like, we need a high rank hunter. So he takes his blunted sword and just chucks it at the monster, immediately breaking its shield and like getting it killed right afterwards. And just goes, huh? I must have been more weakened than I thought. As he just walks away, with his arm just absolutely jacked now. And then in episode 5, he's back in the hospital, and all the nurses are going, dude, when did he get that hot? Like, I did the full skin assessment like 2 weeks ago. He was not that hot.
And the winners asked for his number.
And so he ends up going and training some more and beating up some goblins and stuff. And then he finally gets recruited for this quest. We're like, hey, he's like, I can't enter any higher quests because I'm just a weak hunter of level E rank. So they won't let me enter higher level dungeons. Until one party's like, we just need someone to meet the quota for this C ranked dungeon. Just carry the bags. It's fine. And so he carries the bags, and it's clearly not a setup. Definitely not. as they kill all these monsters and stuff. And this team's working together, and this rich kid also gets tagged along just to meet the quota. And they finally reach the boss chamber where they're like, "Huh, well, we should just mine the mana crystals and come back." Winky face. As the whole plot point is him just kind of slowly going, I know this is wrong, and I know they're gonna betray us, but like, I kind of just don't care. And so they end up getting trapped in with the boss monster to where he's like, "Hang on, let me solo her."
Yo, it's a big spider. If I had a nickel for every big spider this week.
And that's kind of where we left off in episode 5.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room in episode 5? That is, he's a completely different fucking person.
Yes. Thank you, Mason. Thank you. So this is the reason the show dropped a little. This is why this is below Tamer, because I like Tamer. I don't really have like legitimate gripes. I fucking hate this. I probably shouldn't. It's probably not fair. It's so obvious on the poster. It's him both times. Like, and I get it, right? He gets the ability score buff. It makes sense. His body gets more bulky. But like, don't just fucking drop a new entire looking human being to me.
Don't just make him hot.
Show me him get the haircut. Show me like keep his facial structure. The fucking it's not the same.
No.
It's different.
No, I agree.
And you know,
it's weird to just change the design of the character, which probably happened in the manga or the manhwa, but like you can kind of make that transition less drastic. I agree.
Yeah,
but you know what?
Very drastic.
Like some of the things that really get me are like you can do character visual changes and growth. Kobe's a great example of that. He gets stronger and is a different person, and time passes to justify that change, right? It's also meant to be kind of a shock thing where you're like, that's Kobe. But
that's that little kid who did this.
Yeah.
Back in chapter 3.
He's still doing this now.
I know, but he's like a based now.
Yeah. But like what gets this is not as bad as other shows that have done this. There was a fantasy isekai show that aired like a couple, like maybe 3-4 seasons ago, where like the whole premise is that the main character's fat and he's ugly, people hate him, they bully him, and then he finds his father's like secret shed that transports him into the world, and he gets strong and he becomes the hottest looking man on the universe. I hate that immensely for lots of different reasons. I don't like this predominantly because his other design was fine. It's honestly maybe more interesting. And episode 4 shows that you can do the muscle bit and make it cool and show that he's ripped. But I get it. You're worried that you can't do full-on muscle shots with him and not have it look weird with his original face.
Baby face.
I get it.
Yeah.
See,
but still, I'm not sold. His voice even sounds a little different, which is fine. That's fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with his voice is more confident and mature, and like he's a little more put together because of what he's been through. But like, it's fucking wild, and no one reacts to it. His sister doesn't fucking say jack shit. He's a different person living in her house.
So the issue I have is like, you hit the nail on the head where it's like you very clearly can do it with the older model, but it's
even like
give me structure thing.
Give me this like, a little later too. Like it's fine. Like you could run with it. Make
it a progressive thing.
We're episode 4.
They took a perfectly fine character design and made him the most generic shonen protagonist I've ever seen in my life.
It's a little, and I talked about this with Mason about episode 4. The writing on the walls, like literally the writing, such a base level. Like we're here to grab you with the power scaling big action manhwa. Like the writing of the show's fine, and that might be generous. He says the title. They title the episode for episode 4 the one-liner he fucking drops in combat.
Yes,
and it's like, we sure are here, aren't we? Like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not a big deal. If there was action in this episode to pull me out of my fixation on this, I probably wouldn't care as much. But we also, like, isolate all the action to next episode, which is fine as well. It's a build-up episode. It's whatever. I don't mind it. It's just, that is my one gripe, and it irritates me to no degree, and I'm very happy that you agree, that you also care about it, Mason, because
yes.
I thought I was going to be insane on this podcast this week.
It bothered me. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it you and I that watched that, or was it me and Michael?
I watched it with you. No, we did make a comment that is just a different person.
Yeah.
I'm less ticked off about it, but yeah, he certainly is just a different human being.
Yeah.
I just don't like I was trying to think about it. I'm like, what other characters has this happened where like suddenly they are different, and it's really hard to find it because like usually it's like a hair change, or it's like a time skip, or it's like wounds that like solidify the scars.
I hope they go back to the other looks at some point, just randomly.
But like I legitimately feel like this is it might just be that I think this is a premature decision. Like, keep him around a little bit still. He's literally just getting his legs on the ground for this kind of stuff. And if there was stuff we missed between the end of last episode and this episode that like caused him to get here, show me it. Just show me it. Show me him getting a haircut, please. That's all I need to buy into it a little more. Otherwise,
show me him going from 5'6" to 5'8" or going to 6'3".
And I get it. All his abilities are growing, and you have to like show that in some way. Like I get the justification
and be like
for
9'6", 446
He's just the Colossus Titan. Brock Lesnar's opening theme plays as he walks in and just slaps the firefighter through 7 walls. I get the appeal. It would be sick. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, are they setting up for this like skirmish leader guy to be the younger brother of the firefighter, since we also introduced him this chapter, like this episode, where it's like he's the big strong guy, and then because he has a bit, the leader of this like group has the bit where he's like, I'm gonna show my brother I can do it with my small skirmish force that might kill people. I generally don't hate the plot of this episode. I think it's fine. I think
I'm excited for the backlash of him beating this boss and then going, so what was that about trapping us in there?
Well, he can just make up any story though, right?
He can just kill them.
He can say like the roof collapsed, which he might accidentally cause to happen. Like he could say the two of them just pulled off the fight really well, got incredibly lucky, which no one will believe. But like once they clear this dungeon, they're screwed, because what do? You can't meet them outside and be like, oh, I guess we gotta kill them here.
No,
you're fucked.
The thing is, you wait for them to die so that the boss is
no.
weakened, and then you
yeah,
right?
no. But I mean, like, when he defeats this spider, when he defeats, well, I imagine they do just sacrifice them or something, like, and let them die to the boss. Maybe get some dents in,
and then clear the boss, and just say they died to the boss, basically.
Yeah. Because that way they don't have to share the loot, they don't have to go through any of the other resource stuff. They could use it as a distraction to come in and mine the stuff, depending on, like, different environments. But, like, my whole point is, like, okay, he's obviously going to wipe the floor with the spider. I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, no. I wanted them to show the spider's health part, and it's just white, like, and he just goes, nah, we're good.
Like, this group's fucked, because you can't, like, even, like, they can't make an attempt to even be like, okay, they defeated the boss, we still just gotta murk them. Because you can't walk... They have shown us that this organization of hunters is not that dumb. They will be like, we can tell those aren't spider wounds, idiot. If I had a nickel for every episode with insects...
We never said the bodies get recovered from the dungeons once they're gone. That's why they said they can freely, like, kind of do what they want inside the dungeon, because there's no way to tell.
Well, no, they thought... But they thought it was weird, originally, that, like, they couldn't find bodies when the second dungeon opened in episode 2 or 3. Like, it seems they're used to recovering bodies.
Yeah, they recover bodies.
Obviously, they could be like, oh, it was a big fucking spider and it ate them. But, like, they're fucked if they clear that dungeon. There's no way they get out of that. Which is good. They shouldn't, you know? Michael, you have thoughts on solo leveling?
Oh, wait. They don't clear it yet because the spider eats the body. So there's no body to recover.
Well, yeah. But also they lose all the resources if they clear it before.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other reason. They need to be able to mine the resources, and if they kill the boss, they lose all that.
They'll
but
probably
also,
take a little bit at a time.
I imagine they do different dungeons than just spider dungeon every time.
Well, yeah, because they also have to let the boss eventually, like, they have to clear the dungeon or else it becomes a dungeon break, right? So it's like, they do actually clear the dungeon. It's just they just try to kill people while they do it and make money off of them.
Well, it's that. Yeah, they're forced to go in with 8 people, and they want to share it among the 6 of them. Extra bread.
Extra bread.
But yeah, episode 4 was sick. Episode 5 certainly was the most generic setup to something ever, but like, episode 6 is gonna be cool. hopefully.
He's gonna
Praying.
fight again,
So-
which is the important part about the show is when you fight shit.
Here's one word I have. I can't envision them doing the face-tearing scream, like, blank eyes with this new model. Like, I think it rocked with the old one. The stuff from episode 4, where, like, the blood spurts out, his face distorts, like, he's clearly just, like, full power mode. What the fuck does this guy do? He just goes Super Saiyan.
Be cool.
Yeah. He truly is a definition of a Sigma.
Okay, so the video I sent in chat,
again.
that's Concrete Baby for randomly playing for an hour. I've had that playing for the past 13 minutes. Every single time it's played, it's been perfectly timed. Somehow, every time, it's the most perfect time. That's Concrete Baby.
That's wonderful. I would consider maybe playing it, but it'll probably get me DMCA'd.
Baby.
Baby. Hey.
That's where you get the 1 hour of silence, occasionally interrupted by a clanging metal pipe.
Yeah.
Occasionally by something.
Do we have other
We
solo
once
level?
By
played-
Hello
thoughts?
Mario.
I don't know my thoughts on solo leveling, but I do have a funny side thing related to that sound effect. We once played a game of Ticket to Ride, where we put on the background on the TV 10 hours of silence with random train sounds in between. And every time one procced, I slowly turned up the volume afterwards, without Amber noticing.
So, Michael, Witch and the Beast.
Oh yeah, it's Witching the Beast.
Hey, you know what? This is the only show that's going to benefit, with a big question mark after it, from talking about both of its 2 episodes.
Yes. So episode 4, Guido and Guy, don't remember his name because I haven't heard it in
2
40
episodes.
minutes of show.
Ashav.
Yeah, Ashav, they're like, hey, we got to go deal with Necromancer. I think they're given like the job to go deal with the Necro.
They're finishing up another job, at which point a random zombie runs up on them.
Oh yeah.
And Guido's like,
then,
"Pah!"
yeah, and then Sean's famous mantra: all necromancers are evil. Because I think all of them are realistically, even this one that we'll learn at the end of episode 5.
But we knew she was a necromancer. There's just another level to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's episode 4, essentially immediately goes, yeah, so we're gonna pass off dealing with this necromancer to the people who are dealing with the necromancer, which is this other person who is a necromancer, and I don't remember her name. Whatever. She's blonde haired.
Yeah, she's the necromancer. It's another like French name. I can't think of it.
Yeah,
Top of my
she
head.
is blonde hair necromancer, and she has a
Johan.
little Johan, her familiar companion dude.
Slave.
A undead that she has spent lots of resources making an undead.
His
And,
name
like-
is Johan. I know that.
Yeah. He's kind of sick.
I said
They go, we got to go deal with these zombies. So then, Episode 4, we do this thing. Also, there's like some cops. There's like a cop following them.
yeah, because they're the ones who they met the first time. Who or OG crew meets. They're chasing down the zombie, and they're like, well, we could really use help with all these unregistered zombies. And they're like, okay, we know people. And so then they meet up with the detectives. Her name is Fenora.
Cool.
Christopher.
But yeah, and then they're like, we got to go to this church or whatever, because like there was like a body there, I think, like an important one.
They went to the church because she wanted to be in an isolated area.
Michael, do you want me to...
Then she pulls out a magical
Yes.
lamp. And then that magical lamp, using the power of magic, attracts the zombie, because the zombies are split into 3 categories. You have auto, semi-auto, and manual. Auto are just zombies. They run around, go brains. Semi-auto go brains sometimes, but you can kind of like make them do things. And then manual is like what Johan is, like really complex, cool, whatever. I think
You've got it reversed.
Do I have it backwards?
Yeah, man.
So auto is fully autonomous. They
yeah.
can do their own thing. Manual is you fully control them, and semi-auto is you give them a command, they will do that command.
Okay, yeah.
Michael, can I say something quick?
Sure.
I had a gripe with Mason about this. When they explain these terms, they show like the full Latin for them, and they translate the Latin into like the cool English words for it. And I went to Mason. I just don't get why they would do that. and then you just fucking remembered all 3 terms for the different stages of it, and I'm like, no, that's why they did it. That's why they did it, because you wouldn't have fucking remembered domination, fucking whatever the other 2 were.
Yeah.
I just got owned inadvertently.
But then we have like a little moment where like Johan kind of styles on a whole bunch of zombies that are all being zombies, because they were attracted to this lamp, the lantern. They are moths to a lamp. And then the detective's like, oh no, you should help Johan, and she's like, nah, he's okay. And then he goes, what the? And then Johan's like, yo, what the fuck? Why did you help me? She's like, but you did fine.
Pats him on the head. She doesn't, but she might as well.
Yeah, but like, yeah, she very clearly cares about Johan, and like whatever, and trusts him immensely. And then like, that's like episode 4, kind of just like
they get to the necromancer's
house. Yeah. Then they get to necromancer's house.
And they slit Johan's
and on the
throat.
porch, they slit Johan's throat, and on the porch, talking to them, is the necromancer talking to them through. Maybe, or it's another one just next to that one.
Yeah,
talking through the detective's wife.
Yeah, he's in a different one. The detective's wife's next to him.
But yeah, and it's like, oh shit, we have the necromancer's like, yes, I have all my pawns that are connected. I have his wife. And like, I didn't know what to do for you, so I just kind of took Johan, and she's like, damn, that's kind of annoying. I guess I'm gonna go talk to you. And then episode 5 happened.
Mm-hmm.
And episode 5 is them in the house doing house things. And then necromancer's like, yes, you should join me or whatever. I don't even remember.
He
exactly
wants
what
to
his
use
plan
her
is.
body as the mold for his deceased wife's mind and soul and whatever, because she died in a fire, so her skin's not present.
Her body's gone.
So he's just gonna dye her hair red, and then put the soul there, and that's the plan, because he thinks she's like the perfect beauty person. That is what the build-up was leading to.
And then she's like, no, I'm okay. And he goes, but how could you say no? I have all the power here. And then Johan walks in and goes, yo, what up?
No. So she
goes,
sorry, this isn't gonna happen. He goes, but I have so many zombies. And she goes, but I'm also a witch. And then she summons Death Knights from the ground that just obliterate every zombie he has. And then he runs away like a bitch, and then Johan shows up.
Yeah, then Johan shows up and like corners him, and he's like, but you're dead. And he goes, she just fucking told you I'm a witch, dumbass.
Well, no, she's the witch. He's a zombie.
Well, yeah, that she's a witch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is a witch's zombie.
Yeah, he's a witch's zombie, and then he like gets forward back to the power of rainbows, and then he brutally fucking almost murders the necromancer. And God, was it a fucking hitting line when he goes, I didn't kill him yet, looking at this fucking corpse on the ground.
Full, like, it looks like this entire section of his face has just been ripped off.
All the skin on his face is gone. Both of his eyes are gouged out. He doesn't have any fingers. Johan also makes a comment. He's like, yeah, I'm going to take off all your fingers first. Because gotta be brutal here. Oh wow, she evil, maybe. Also, she's a witch. Which I don't think they want witches in the Magical Resonance Society. Or whatever the name is. I think those are the 3 words, and maybe in a different order.
Magical Resonance.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. And then they also do the brief end of the episode explanation of I guess there's 2 things. They explain that the cost that they have not yet fully explained over the course of the first episode is that when you revive a body and bring the soul back, you pull it out of the reincarnation cycle. And thus he has committed tons of heinous crimes outside of necromancy because of this. And so what they decide to do is she kills him, Fenora kills him, and then brings him back as a zombie, and then is going to make him do maintenance, which takes a ton of magic, and she's going to give him just enough so that he can always do enough maintenance to keep all the zombies that he turned into functioning actual, like, real zombies to the best of his ability, and also torture him the whole time. Yeah. Who wants to talk about this first?
Why couldn't these guys have just been the show?
Yeah, they're locked.
Is sick, especially the fact the twist of her she's like the witch, and you're like, oh, that's actually like a good twist and like well applied. And I actually did not think that she was gonna be a witch. I thought she was gonna be like a mage of some sort. I did not expect a a full-ass witch who's just a necromancer and took an oath to just do necromancy things appropriately. Except then she goes, not quite. And then just like has her death knights that she has that just murders everyone. That was sick. I love that. Like, I wish that this was just kind of the show almost, because these two characters were great. I loved the undead boy who's following her along.
Johan's great. He's just built different.
If this is episode 1 and 2 of an anime, or like, you know, leading into it, I'd be like, okay,
yeah.
I'm in.
So that's the issue I find with this section, is that, man, this was really neat. These aren't our main characters. They're barely side characters, to be honest, because none of what they do has really any impact on the main story.
I think they're coming back. They've established she's a witch, which means she's important enough to keep in the main story, and they're most likely just going to use them as peripheral characters, if not important other plot characters as well. I just think it is insane to have a show like this where you open with 2 characters, go to 2 more characters, and then maybe introduce another set for all we know. We don't know. And then like intertwine them. It's interesting. It's a decision. I've consistently liked this show, so I'm not really in the same boat of like, I wish this is what we got. I just think it was a nice break. I think like after you watch the first 3 episodes, you get episode 4 and you're like, okay, you're introducing me to new concepts that are cool enough that I'm interested in and how this necromancy things work. Like, I like these two's dynamic maybe a little more than the main cast, so I'm okay with taking it and letting it play out. My big gripe with it this week is that I think episode 4 is immensely better than 5.
Yeah.
I think episode 4 does a really good job of tone and intrigue and like setting this up as like a horror story, that like there is this necromancer who is doing all these things and is targeting this detective, like, because his wife was a redhead as well, and he is conflicted about this. And in episode 5, you have to resolve it. And I just feel like they drop everything. Like, the Death Knights are cool. Johan's badass. But the thread of this episode just crumbles in an instant. Like, they choose not to show his face for no reason at all.
Yeah.
He's not an important person or even, like, strange or threatening looking. He's just fucking weird.
He doesn't even have any weird eyes or anything,
No.
which is a pretty normal thing in this show to happen.
He's just a guy.
He's just a dude.
He's just a shitty looking guy. And it's also like it's also the matter of like, you have this detective who doesn't like necromancy, and you know what? His viewpoint is entirely fair. It's entirely fine. Everybody recognizes that. You're telling me he doesn't know that necromancy pulls the souls out of the revival cycle. The thing you're supposed to be prepped about
the life stream.
The thing you're supposed to be prepped about if there's even the remote consideration about revival. And I get that he was probably like, I don't even want to hear about resurrection or, necromancy. It's not an option I want. But you would think he would maybe look into it, given the rise of zombies in his town at all. They keep him in the dark to keep us in the dark about that, and there's really no reason to. Let the man know that necromancy pulls people out of the life stream. It just makes him distrust it even more, and be even more upset when it happens to his wife who's passed, right? Like, and also, this is a really, really small gripe. His scream at the end of episode 4, which they play again at the beginning of episode 5, is horrible. It just doesn't carry any emotion that's really justifiable for that scene. But like I didn't know that was my fear going into this episode. My actual biggest fear was they were going to bring in the other two to resolve this conflict, and I'm at least glad that didn't happen, because that would have felt very contrived. But I did think we were going to have the other detective partner come back in. Like, they would have had, like, I thought we were going 8th dimensional, we've planned around us getting screwed over. I didn't think Johan was dead, because come on. He's too cool to die. But, that is for me why this is lower than BUCCHIGIRI. Realistically, I still like this show, but you raised the bar for me that I really liked it, and then you didn't keep it up there. Like, you didn't even have to raise it higher. You could have just fucking held it there for this episode, and I would have been pleased. But to me, it was like, It was like all the tone, all the intrigue, all of like the stakes that all just really fell away from this episode, and I was not a fan of that. Yeah, and also, I don't know, are we gonna get into another 2-arc episode? Are we gonna get into another 3-arc episode? I don't know about that one, Chief. I think it's about time. Coming from the guy who likes the show.
I did like this arc a lot more than the first arc. Like
I think they're better,
arc,
yeah.
that is. But, like, again, like, it's like, now we use all this information, necromancy and stuff, and they're probably just gonna move on to some other topic. And that's the downside of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we're finally through the meat of things, everybody. We can have a nice little cooldown for these last two. Unless someone has a surprise brewing about thoughts on these two shows.
These two, yeah.
Let's hit it in. Mason, you're up to bat.
Yeah, so Mr. Villain's Day Off. So episode 4, it's springtime, and
oh God, I forgot that's what happened in this episode.
So the first section is we see this guy. He's like a businessman. It's very reminiscent of Tendo from Zom 100, where he thought going into work was going to be great, and then he just hates life and doesn't have enough energy to like do anything other than get convenience store food. And he sees Mr. Villain in the store, like trying to pick something, and the girl at the counter like helps him out, and he's just like, that guy was really intimidating, but she was just like super nice about it. I need to live my life like him. And then he gets like more like confident and like is like happier. And then we get another bit with Mr. Villain in a coffee shop where he's losing his mind over a panda latte, but he's having this hard time of figuring out if he should drink it and ruin the panda, but he gets to enjoy the coffee, or save the panda but not get to enjoy the coffee. He ends up drinking it eventually. And then our last little vignette is we don't make second trips. We carry all the bags in from the grocery store. That's just what happens.
It's not the last vignette, unless.
Well, it's the second to last.
I was gonna say, okay.
But that's the next one. And then the last one is he hears on the news broadcast that the cherry blossoms are going to look really pretty this time, like this time of year because it's spring. And he goes, and all the cherry blossoms have fallen already. But he sees this little girl on the park bench and ends up sitting next to her, and she just starts talking to him. He ends up giving her food and like being nice to her. And she's like, I like you, mister. You're nice. Do you want to see the cherry blossoms bloom or like fall? He's like, I mean, yeah, that's kind of why I came here. She's like, okay. And then she disappears and the cherry blossoms fly around. It's like, huh. Maybe I'll come earlier next year. That was weird, but like that was cool. And then episode 5 is we get to meet the Pink Ranger, who I love her. She's wonderful. She's just like, she hates being a ranger. She wants to be a magical girl, so she has this like all this magical girl merch. But she doesn't think she's cute enough, which is bullshit. And she ends up losing her keychain that is a magical girl wand. So she's like looking for it everywhere. She goes out to look for it. We get to see some interactions between the Rangers, which is we meet Blue as well, which we had kind of seen him a little bit before, but we actually get to like have an interaction with him. And he's very like to the point and kind of like he's a little standoffish, but it's more he's just blunt, it seems. And he doesn't quite realize it. and the little shitlings that are the Green Rangers fucking kneecap him. Just chop in the back of his legs because he's being an asshole. She goes out and looks for her little keychain. She goes to the police and they've gotten it and lost and found. They're like, yeah, the guy who turned it in just left. So if you want to go thank him, and she's like already out the door. They're like, yeah, he's a guy in a trench coat, really tall.
What good cops? What good cops? Sending the young girl after the guy in a trench coat.
You're right. I love the bit that comes after this, which is she's running down the street and everyone is wearing a trench coat at this point. She's like, no, not that one. They're not tall enough. No, that's a woman.
That's an old man.
That's an old man.
That's a panda in a trench coat. That's the only way it could have got better.
And then she ends up finding him and she's like, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for this. Like, I really needed it. And he's like, yeah, I can tell you care a lot about this. All right, anyways, bye, Miss Magical Girl. She's like, oh, so someone gets it. And then the next bit is Mr. Villain realizes that it is Panda Fair week, so he goes on a shopping spree to get the free item, and then when he finally gets all of the stuff that he needs to like get this free panda related item, he can't pick which one and ends up getting a mug with a lid on it. During this time, he has a existential crisis about bread because it's panda bread, and they're like, yeah, we'll slice it for you. He's like, that is a sin against nature. What is wrong with you? And then he realizes, oh no, wait, if we slice it, there's more pandas. This is perfect. And then the last bit is him cleaning, and he's about to clean out the box of cookies that the little guy gave him, and he's like, he remembers it, and he goes, nah, I'm gonna keep this. This was nice. That's basically the entire episode from what I remember. Oh, he also meets a cat.
He meets the cat, yes. I was gonna say, Mason, it's my screenshot. We haven't talked about the cat yet.
Yeah, he meets a cat, and he's just like, yeah, cats would be, like, perfect to help take over the world. And then he has a full-on conversation with this cat because he's like, oh, wait, they have a different language.
I can't believe he's bilingual.
Yeah, right? Meanwhile, Pink is just looking on, just like, what? What?
Adorable, but what?
Yeah, it's like, this is cute, but, like, what the fuck?
Man, Mason, is this show sure the perfect show for you?
Yes, it's just vibes. That's why I liked Call of the Night so much.
I enjoyed Panda Coffee bit. I enjoyed Sakura Blossom bit. I enjoyed Pink Ranger bit. I enjoyed Cat bit. Otherwise, like, we're starting to retread a couple of things where I did not have any care for the convenience store bit, even if it's a new character and it has a little bit different themes. I'm like, we've been here too long. Get me out of this fucking convenience store, man. He's back at the panda cage.
Hey, for once you didn't take 3,800 photos.
The panda's on TV again. And like, again, it's a fine show. It's a nice vibe show. It'll go off much sooner for me than it will some other things, just because of how I correlate what engages my neurons. I don't particularly have any problem with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Did I put it on my power ranking? Did I put it above Fluffy Paradise? I did. Good. There's a reason for that, but that's not Mr. Villain's Day Off's benefit. That's Fluffy Paradise's downfall.
Ooh. Hey, the show just kind of exists.
Yeah.
This doesn't hit the same neurons that like general slice of life does for me. Like I did like episode 5 was fine. Like Pink Ranger's based. I enjoyed her.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat and the cat on the bench was funny. But like, it's fine.
Ooh, I agree. Like the show's fine. It's just not doing anything for me. So I guess it's just kind of like him discovering Earth things. But to me, it's weird that like they've been at this war for a while. It seems like between the Earthlings, and yet he's just now discovering cats and things like that.
He has to grow into the discovering phase, and he hyperfixated on pandas.
That's true. That could have taken years.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they were really cute how they rolled around and fell out of the tree, and
try to go up the slide and fall back down the slide.
From what it seems like, we're in like season 1 of Power Rangers stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's like I just don't care enough about the Rangers, even though we've seen like 4 or 5 of them.
I think the kids are cool. I think the Pink Ranger's cool. Red and Blue are the most Red and Blue Rangers I've ever seen.
True.
I just
shout outs to Red Ranger for getting home on his own for once, by the way, guys.
Yeah,
good for him.
It took him all day.
Excited to see what direction they take the Black Ranger. Because that is always notoriously the extra Ranger of the group is always the interesting thing to see how they shake
the White
up.
Ranger though, and Power Rangers was pretty banger though.
Well, I'm excited for the White Ranger to come in at a later point in the series, and for them to do a fusion dance, and for for Mr. Villain to just collapse because they're a panda.
True.
I guess that means we've worked our way through to Fluffy Paradise.
So Fluffy Paradise, episode 4, I liked a lot. So what happens is Nemona gets a teacher, or Nema gets a teacher.
I was gonna say,
like
Nemona's a very different show.
Nemona's a different character. I had Pokemon on the brain. But she gets a private tutor who is clearly like old-fashioned, like you're gonna do things the right way or get beat, kind of teacher. And she's like, you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna be a prim and proper girl. I'm gonna get through this, right? And then after going through it for quite a bit, she goes, actually, she's just racist. And he kind of points that out, and then eventually gets her dad on board with it, and basically gets the teacher scolded. And then suddenly she likes studying a little bit more. It's the TLDR of the first episode. And then finally we get this thing where they're like, hey, we need to go take care of some monsters that are going in places they shouldn't be. So they go up to the snowy north, and they use a teleport circle, to which they appear, and she's like, let me go outside, and then freezes, because it's fucking cold. And so we get an outfit change where she's got a cute little hat and a snuggly, and we're good to go. And they're like, hey, tomorrow we gotta go inspect the forest to see what the monsters are doing. And so she asks Soul what's going on. He's like, goblins shouldn't be out this place. That's weird. And then episode 5, they go exploring, in which our main character, Nema, gets separated from the pack because she's curious, and gets captured by goblins, who are actually really nice to humans. They just, like, they take care of them like they are, like, just children themselves. And they give them food and stuff, and she's like, hey, can we get some food? And they give her, like, a fruit, and she takes a bite of it. She's like, oh, that's way too bitter. And they're like, no, you gotta peel it. And they show her how to peel it, and she's like, oh, and takes out her little knife. She's like, my knife! And they go, uh-oh, a knife. And she just slowly peels all the fruit and shows them how to peel the fruit, and they go, whoa, this is way more efficient, as they use a sharp rock, before she encounters a hobgoblin who can talk. To which she's like, hey, can we, like, not be here anymore? Because my dad will probably come kill you. And he's like, yeah, let's get you out of here, or kill you. And she's like, how about we just leave? And I have a plan. And the plan was to have these other kids get chased, and then the hobgoblin shows up and scares them, but then they're actually peaceful and problem solved. However, her dad shows up and is pissed, and so she defends the hobgoblin from getting killed by a fireball, and he's mad at her. To which the episode ends on a point where something even bigger and scarier shows up. I think it's like a giant spider monster. I can't remember what the end of the episode was. It left on some kind of cliffhanger, but basically it's just the usual Nema getting into bullshit, using Talk No Jutsu, furry person or furry friend to get out of situations, and then trying not to get murdered. But she got caught because she was chasing a rabbit that was hurt, and then she got it, and then there's like, no, you cannot eat the rabbit. This is my friend, to the goblins, which is really funny. But
and then we meet a spider
for this show. Yeah, and then we're gonna fight a spider.
Which is definitely not going to be a traumatic moment that's foreshadowed in the opening. By foreshadowed, I mean shown.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the show's fine. It's just cute girl doing cute things, being friends with animals. I love Soul. He's great. But outside of that, it's just kind of more of the same. And yeah, I don't have much more to say about this show. What do you guys think about it?
I enjoy the show. Like, it's not my favorite show on the podcast, but like I don't dislike it. Like I think it is middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, I don't have any like actual problems with the show. It's just it's a nice show. I think it's fun. I like
it. This certainly is one of those funny shows where like it's an isekai, and like it kind of forgets that 80% of the time. By that I mean like 99% of the time. Outside of the part where just this character wants to pet fluffy animal.
Yeah.
But that's like the only isekai thing about it. Outside of, I guess she has a superpower. But like, that just happens in fantasy shows. People get superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
I'd agree.
sorry, I'm back. What have been some of the main points we've hit?
Show's
On
cute.
thoughts.
She's trying to equalize relationships between monsters and humans. It's going to little success.
Cool. That lets me chime in. I liked episode 4. I thought it was fine. Like, there's like a particular interaction and bit that I think is neat, and otherwise than that, it felt like it was predominantly a build-up episode, which I thought was fine. Especially because it very much took you away from all the stuff that's like actually like cute and enjoyable about the show. And then it ends on the note about like, oh, we're gonna get the actual first interaction with monsters. And then I think this week's episode kind of drops the ball on it. Because to me, this was the test of how interesting are we going to take this, like the subplot outside of things are fluffy, hug them. Which nothing wrong with that. But like, how big are we gonna take this God sent me on a quest to find out if man is discriminating against monster? And I don't think it really does anything of note with it. The spider's here, neat. I guess we'll find out with that maybe. And that was what sealed that this was going below Mr. Villain's Day Off for me, where I was like, I feel like you're trying to do an extra thing and you haven't sold me on it yet, and this was your shot to sell me on it. If you're still around, good luck to sell me on it again. But otherwise, like, I have much other, cute, enjoyable, wholesome, and fun adventure, intriguing plot stuff to get elsewhere from this season. That's where I fall on that one. Yeah. Let me go here. Any other thoughts?
Show's cute and gives serotonin. That's about it. We have a couple of shows. It's pretty nice. What do I want to get rid of this week? That's a good question.
The better question is, what don't I want to get rid of this weekend? This week.
kill ever.
That's fine.
The real question is, what do I want to put as my name
It would be
this week?
it would be really fun.
question.
It'd be really funny to slay that, but I won't do it.
Sean,
You
posted the same form for this week, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, I picked the wrong one. That's my bad.
Hey, it's fine. Hey, you catch me slacking enough of the time that I almost believed you. I was like, I don't think I slayed Way of the Pond again. I will slay it every week if I have to. It can become the next Shuru Camp. Or Rifle. Rifle is beautiful.
Yeah, it was Rifle. Yeah, Slaves Rifle Weekly.
Slaves Rifle Weekly. Is that how I feel? Yeah, that's probably.
That's probably how I feel.
Whatever.
That's better. Think of it. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen, the results are in! And we have full saves. I repeat, things that did not receive a single slay on Dungeon Meshi, Metallic Rouge, A Sign of Affection, Hokkaido Gals, Solo Leveling. I will tell you though that I thought about it. Mr. Villain's Day Off, and Fluffy Paradise. We then have one slay on Weakest Tamer. We then have 3 slays on BUCCHIGIRI. We then have 4 slays on Witch and Sasaki. Beast and Peeps. Yeah.
Sasaki getting 4 is kind of surprising, but also not. You know?
I think we all made it pretty clear how we felt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing, like, it was clear to me that Mason wasn't not going to vote BUCCHIGIRI. And while I could not vote Sasaki and Peeps, I was like, but do I want to watch another episode of it? What if we just get a 3-way tie and we all decide we're going to jump ahead a week and we're just not going to worry about it? I'm also tired enough that I don't...
We're going to vote up 3 shows just to send a message that we can skip a week when we want.
We're just getting ahead of the curve. Expectations, you know? Safety net. With next season, we're just going to pick 11 and act like we voted a show off the first week when we didn't. It'll solve a lot of problems. No, like, I quite literally can't express. Right now, I am watching... 1 second. I want to... Like, fantasy shows from this season, I am also watching. I'm watching the 2nd season of Moonlit, which isn't a fair comparison to other fantasies. But, like, that shit's incredible. I'm watching the new Villainess, which I actually like. And from that genre, it's up there as, like, enjoyable for me. Like, I think the character dynamic's cool. And I'm watching The Unwanted Undead Adventure, which I think is fucking stellar.
I've heard it's incredible.
And like, to be watching those... Oh, and I also started, I watched a lot. I also started, Berserk of Gluttony, which is from last season, I believe. And that's fine. It's good. But, like... the fantasy element of Sasaki and Peeps, like, gets blown out of the water by any of those. Like, cause it's cool, it looks pretty, but even then I don't think it looks pretty, and, like, I think it's, I talked to Mesa about this. Sasaki and Peeps to me is, like, an arbitrary pretty. Like, Sign of Affection is, like, a stylistic pretty. Tamer looks really pretty at times. And this just feels like an odd, like, you look pretty when you want to. Like, when they do some of the, like, the pan shots in the fantasy, I'm like, that's really pretty. And then I see the combat, I'm like, I think I'm good. And then, I mean, I think it's just time for Witch and the Beast to go. I'm surprised I enabled it to live as long as it has, with it not being my show. Maybe that's the key. If this was last week, see, the thing is, this would be trickier. If this was last week, I think it... While enough, I think Hokkaido might have gone last week. Probably the show benefiting the most from the extra week span, considering this week. This is, like, I don't think anyone was gonna slay it, as we saw after this week's episode. Yes. But I know it was in my bottom 3. It was in John's bottom 3.
I think it was relatively low for me as well.
Yeah,
it was my bottom 2.
Yeah, and I don't think I was gonna slay Sasaki and Peeps last week. But, like, I think last week was a toss-up between Witch and Hokkaido, and I really liked Witch. I think Mason really liked Witch from last week's episode as a standalone point. That I think it might have been able to eke its way out, at which point BUCCHIGIRI was also on a couple of our low ends, I think, last week even. So, like, it's funny that I feel like Hokkaido escaped, and now it's just BUCCHIGIRI. What will it do? I mean, Hokkaido can very easily fall back into the chopping block range, to be fair. I also think at any point for me, any of, like, our fine, like, little comfort shows could go if enough of the other stuff does things that are interesting for me. Like, Fluffy for sure. I'm like, you've lost me a little. And then, Metallic Rouge sure does depend on what it chooses to try to do.
Yeah.
That's a wild-ass show. I personally am of the opinion that I think this might be a season where we don't have as strong of, like, killer shows. At least not as strong as I expected. Like, we have Dungeon Meshi, we have Sola, and we have A Sign of Affection. Like, we arguably have a top 3. But even then, like, I like Tamer. I think enough things float around, like Metallic Rouge, that, like, but none of it is like, oh, we have so many good shows. I have no idea how we're going to breach a top 5 from this point, which is how it felt last season.
Yeah.
Last season felt fucking insane. So I think that's interesting. But thank everybody for joining in. We managed to keep it under 3 hours, boys.
That's
Let's
crazy.
go.
And now we can all pass out.
Yeah.
True.
I've been awake since 6:55 this morning.
I'm gonna go.
Mm.
I'm gonna go.
Too, but
I'm
I
gonna
gotta
go
go
reheat some pizza,
Tomorrow.
and then I'm gonna go watch a Peach Owl VOD and probably fall asleep to it
Let's
like I
go,
have the
Peach Owl
past
VOD.
5
Dude,
nights.
Peach Owl daily VODs, man, have been so good
Yeah,
lately.
I just watched the Twitch VODs. I'm just watching the playthrough, and
I'm
like
watching the Teach Out Daily.
yeah, and like I quite literally have the VOD on, and I'll wake up and it'll be like your phone's almost dead. I'm like neat, plug that in for a while, and then the next night I just go back and find where I was from the last core memory I have from the stream.
Yep, I feel that.
So that's we. But
Right.
yeah, we will. There's some stuff that I'm probably gonna talk about next week for people interesting. Just Anime Field will probably talk about Crunchyroll, Funimation briefly. I know some people were interested in hearing thoughts about that. I think we really actually kind of talked about it when the merger first happened, fucking 2 years ago. But we'll talk about like the actual update where we are with that, as I think most people know. And then we might talk briefly about the Sony and Xbox stuff and the Nintendo news. All 3 of them had news this week. Only one of them arguably maybe is good, which is Nintendo. But even then, it's like a bad thing for like people who were expecting a Switch 2 this year. Whoops. But yeah, we'll talk to everybody sometime next week.